What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Again, happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. If you didn't come check it out earlier, man, we are on a roll today. It's another HBCU OverDrive live show. I'm your boy, your host, the host with the most, Doc Holiday. And if you haven't done it by now, make sure that you like this stream. Make sure you comment, share, and most of all, subscribe. Make sure you become a member of the hottest HBCU podcast that's out right now. And make sure you hit that notification bell to get everything HBCU Overdrive. So I'm gonna put this down right here because I want to see if anybody can hear me. Trying to see if my guest is gonna come in. Mr. Ford, hopefully he'll come in. If anybody's there, if anybody is out there, they want to voice their opinion about what's going on, what's been going on for this past week. The stream is open. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Having technical difficulties. Stream is open, and if anybody wants to connect, all right, go ahead, connect you. How you doing, Mr. Ford?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. I had made a list that I was going to ask you. What do you think? I had a list. I was thinking about this today. I said probably the most misled sports announcers on TV today is number 5. I had this. Number 5? Jay Adonde. He was on there today trying to justify why he went against LeBron because LeBron is on the press now about everything black people say. You got something to say, but they've shown Jerry Jones was one of the people that blocked the Little Rock 9 at that Little Rock Central High School. Yeah. And nobody want to talk about that. But I got him at 5. That big guy, Jason Whitlock, he'll say anything stupid come to his mind. I got number 3, huh?
I don't like Whitlock. I really don't.
You know what he is. He'll say anything he think white folks give him a job to do. That I got number 3 was Shannon Sharp. Shannon said some ridiculous stuff too. And Shannon wants Dion out of now he went to Savannah State, but he wants Dion out of Jackson State. He's always got to tell you he went to Savannah State, but he wants Dion out of Jackson. I got number 2. I had Charles Barkley. I mean, that's a given. Yeah. He's been saying stupid stuff for 20 years since he's been out the league.
But Mr. Ford, Charles Barkley don't really care.
No, he don't. He's self-hating. He's self-hating. Now, everybody I talked to in Alabama, they say you have to have met his mother and his grandmother because that's who created him. But number 1, I got the big Diesel. I don't think nobody on TV is as ignorant as Shaquille O'Neal. I think he's awful. I really do. I always throwing that in his face, throwing that in our face about how much money he got. You see, in America, money is tolerated, knowledge is respected. He got plenty of money, but he ain't got no knowledge. But I got him as a number 1. He's I got them as Steppin' Fetching. You remember Steppin' Fetching back from the 30s?
Yeah, my grandma used to tell me about that.
Yeah. White folk love Steppin' Fetching because he portrayed black people as being stupid and portrayed us as being not even human beings. And so, they loved him. And his name was Lincoln Monroe Kennedy. I think he got very rich doing that Steppin' Fetching thing. He got a lot of money. But listen, I'm just chiming in. Whatever you want to ask me. If anybody want to ask me anything, I'm right here.
Okay. Hey, Brian, you can come on in, Brian. I'm gonna put send an invite. So I actually did some work, some creative work today.
Right.
As far as when it came to my PowerPoints, I've been trying to work on doing that since I kind of started doing this whole podcast thing. So it's kind of like I've been trying to get it all together. And I think I'm doing a good job. People saying I'm doing a good job so far. But I don't know if they telling me the truth or they lying to my face.
Right, right.
But so far they telling me I'm doing a good job.
Well, listen, have you heard that Blue and them was reporting that Grambling done fired half the staff? Have you heard that?
I haven't heard that. If that's
the
case,
so they done fired Devontae Kincaid and a bunch of them offensive people.
Wait, whoa. Time out.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me you fired the one person that actually could understand quarterbacks these days, and you fired him?
That's what you know what? I'm trying to find out, is this true or not? Because I'm surprised that Dr. Gallows didn't know who Devontae Kincaid. That's the last time Grambling had greatness, was Devontae Kincaid. So but from what I'm hearing, he's basically done fired almost the whole offensive staff. I'm trying to get somebody. You know what? I need to go to. There's a website that does all the coaching firing. I need to go to that. Is it coaching school?
I'm gonna tell you the person that Hugh Jackson needed to fire. He needed to fire John Simon.
And I think they say he coming back. He didn't fire John Simon.
Man, that's stupid. I don't really say that on the channel, but that's dumb. If you fire the one person that can actually develop a quarterback, then you don't fire the other person that basically made your offense inept. So
you could kind of tell during the Bayou Classic, the close-ups, Hugh and John, they ain't clicking. You can look at body language, you know. Then to me, I didn't like the body language between Calvez and Coach Hugh Jackson. I didn't like the body language. It didn't look like he was buying in and like he didn't trust his coach. Then it's like Hugh Jackson, this is all body language to me now, but it didn't look like he was all bought in with that young man, with Calvez. I didn't like the body language that I saw on that TV.
And when I looked at Calvez, and I looked at the clips of the game.
Right.
So because we did a field breakdown earlier today, I looked at it like, man, he was fired up. Like, you have to look at it from the first half, between the first half and the second half of the game.
Right.
First half of the game, he was fired up. Like, you could see, like, it's like he didn't have a care in the world. He was out there. It's like he just basically out there playing.
Right.
But in that second half, when you seen Southern get ready to turn it up, and they turned up the defense on him, you kind of see his body language kind of slump, because I feel like you as the coach got to make sure that your players is his confidence got to be up.
Yeah, and that's you know what, that's something I saw too. I didn't see him basically building that young man. Now, personally, like I think I told you the other night, now this is Mr. Forward now. I thought after he threw the interception where the guy did the pick six and went in, I thought Hugh quit on him. I thought Hugh quit. I really do. I thought he quit. And then I thought he lost a major opportunity when that young man came out the field to let that young man know, we love you and we coming back next year. He let him run off the field. I thought he missed a great coaching opportunity.
What's going on, Brian?
How you doing? Mr. Ford?
Hey, how you doing?
Mr. Ford, you know, I couldn't agree. Like Charles Barkley, that clown.
Yeah.
He's a clown.
Yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal is a disgrace.
Yeah.
Shannon Sharp. You know what really bothers me, and it probably bothers you being an HBCU alum?
Yeah.
Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. Smith are two alumnus that went to predominantly black colleges. And you know what? they're promoting Alabama.
Yeah.
They're promoting everything else, but the where they came from. You see, that's just a great point. You forget where you come from sometimes.
All the time.
And the thing that really bothers me, if there was no African Americans playing at Power Fives, the Power Fives would be worse than HBCUs.
Right. And I remember when it was.
There you go, sir.
In my day, I remember when everybody would wait on the West Coast teams like Southern Cal because they had black boys. I remember Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee when they had no blacks at all. I remember Bear Bryant's teams. The guy who actually made Bear Bryant integrated, it was two of them. One was named Sam the Bam Cunningham.
Yes, sir.
The other one was named Johnny Rogers. He was from Nebraska.
Do you know what, Mr. Ford? I'm from Canada, and I grew up in Montreal.
Right.
Johnny Rogers signed with the Montreal Alouettes back in the early 70s. And he was a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
He was good friends with my cousin that played for the Alouettes. And matter of fact, I had a football signed by Johnny Rogers.
Oh, yeah.
Marv Levy was the coach of the Montreal Alouettes back then.
That's right, Marv. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I remember that. And mentioning Johnny Rogers, it's really making me feel old, Mr. Ford. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah. Johnny had a little addiction problem there. That's what curtailed his career. I think he went with the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah, he went to the Chargers. See, at that time, Bob Devaney led Nebraska. But what Bob Devaney was doing, he was bringing in black athletes to Nebraska from Texas. He had a boy named Willie Hopper. He had a defensive lineman named Rich Glover. I think his name was Glover. Glover was probably the baddest defensive lineman in the country at that time. But Nebraska had black players. Oklahoma had Greg Pruitt, and they had some more black players. But see, at the time, Alabama didn't really have no black players. No, Georgia didn't have no black players.
And Johnny Rogers was probably a later version later on would be like a Percy Harvin.
Yeah, he was actually what we would call today, he was a wingback.
That's right.
He could run out the backfield, but he could also he could run patterns. But the thing that he could electrify you with was kickoff and punt returns.
Yeah.
He could electrify you. Matter of fact, he won one of them Oklahoma games with a punt return.
I remember as a kid, he was playing in the park up where not too far from where I lived, and I didn't know who he was at the time, and they used to play touch football. And I seen this guy, and I said, man, this guy's dynamic. And all of a sudden, I seen this big limousine come up, and Marv Levy got out the car, and he yelled down and said, get off the field. You know what I mean? Because he was a big prize for them, obviously.
Yeah, see, that's one of the things that killed Nebraska. See, Johnny is one of the few stars at Nebraska that was actually from Nebraska. He was from Omaha, okay? When you look at Omaha gave you Johnny Rogers, but it also gave you Bob Gibson. A lot of people don't forget him.
Yeah.
But the Omaha, but see, what Nebraska always did, Nebraska would go into Texas, they would go into California, and they would go into Florida to get their superstars. When they pulled out of the Big 12 and went into the Big 10, they lost their recruiting grounds. That's what a lot of people don't understand. That's why Nebraska is irrelevant today. They lost their.
Mr. Ford's gone.
He'll come back on.
Come on, Mr. Ford. Don't finish. So, Doc, so what have you been hearing? You know what I mean? I'll be honest with you, I'm tired about the Prime rumors going here, going there. And people, listen, I love Prime. I'm a big fan of Prime. And that's why I'm a fan of JSU, a bandwagon fan. I'll say it. You know what I mean? I'll be the first one to say it. He's a coach until he's not.
That's all it is.
And
that's all it is. He is the coach until he's not. Until he says, like I keep saying, until he says his name, until he says, look, I'm not going to be the coach of Jackson State, or I'm still going to be here. Other than that, he is still the coach of this team. He's still the coach of the football team.
The only way I could see him leaving is there's something that happened behind the scenes that we don't know about. You know what I mean? As far as maybe, he's always been harping, I don't mean harping, but and he has a legitimate reason to with the water situation. And I read something in the chat. Somebody says that they're not trying to, Neely was said that they're not trying to really make him, I think that's preposterous saying that they don't want to keep Prime has done so much for them and the economy. You know, only a fool would say, well, we don't need him or something as far as like that. People's ignorance as far as that's concerned. But the thing is, if we look, I like looking at things logically.
Mm-hmm.
If he wanted to go to, I don't know, maybe all the other teams are filling their vacancies.
Oh yeah,
why would you go to
about
Colorado? First of all, Shador's got two more years. Charlotte's got 1 more year left. That would hurt their status as far
Without
as
a doubt.
draft eligibility because Shador to learn a new system, to go to Colorado when you got Utah, you still got UCLA next year, you got USC, you got Oregon State. You got some great competition that's going to be there for the next year. And Dion's not going to go to a place where he's going to go 3-win season or a 2-win season or a one, or you know what I mean. He's not going to do that to himself. He's been a person that always prided himself of winning. He's proclaimed to be a winner, which he is. So
I can't say that, Brian, because when he came to Jackson State, we only won 3 games the prior season when he came to Jackson.
Oh, you mean the spring season?
The season before, but he knew what was coming.
No, not the spring season. We're talking about 2019.
Yeah,
John Hendricks last season.
John Hendricks. Yeah.
The 100% the team. But you look at what he knew what he was bringing in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the good thing was that spring season was total blessing for him because you know what? He's seen what he's seen, and he said, you know what? I'm cleaning house, and he cleaned house.
Yeah, he did.
You know what I mean? They lost 2 games, one to a FBS conference and one in celebration. They never lost a SWAC game in 2 years.
They haven't.
So the thing is, as a coach, is his mission completed? No, it's not. And
no,
he has had success, but he's not yet successful.
Well, I want to go online and say this to everybody. If he goes to a Colorado to this school down here, USF, he's not going to win. No. The winning is not going to transfer to those PWIs. They're going to do him just like they did Charlie Strong. They're going to sabotage him just like they did Kevin Sumlin, just like they did Bob Simmons at Oklahoma State, just like they did the young man that was at Notre Dame, Tyrone Willingham. You know what? I really think his best bet, now I'm not begrudging him or anything, really, he should stay where he is.
Mr. Ford, let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been a summation of mine. I always tell, me and Doc been talking, and even with Ken Clark, we've been, I always say I listen to what a man says. And Dion said, listen, remember the guy asked him a question, what about facing Alabama? He says, let me build up my offensive and defensive line.
Right.
So that tells me that he's preparing for FBS. So how to prepare for FBS, I think he's going to strengthen his line.
Yeah.
They're going to, I think, and I stick to it, and Doc, I've been saying it all along. He's going to move to Jackson State University. Is going to go to a FBS conference. Watch what I tell you.
Yeah, and that's what Commissioner McClellan is saying. He doesn't want Jackson to go by itself. He wants the conference to go FBS.
That's right.
He wants the whole conference. And see, they have a stipulation in Dion's contract that if the Jackson moves FBS, that's more money for him.
And that's where the money is in the television conference.
Yeah,
the television money in a bigger conference.
Right.
So let's get into this right here. So I know we was talking about the awards on Tuesday, man, but I want to get into this right here. The biggest snubs from the SWAC accolades, the SWAC all conference awards.
Brown.
So my first, I'm gonna tell you like this. We're gonna start with, this is the biggest snub right here. Nelson Jordan II. Defensive lineman, like hell of a motor. He transferred in from Sanford, so it's not like he's not new to playing, to playing football. So Alabama State, defensive lineman. 28 total tackles, 7.5 tackles for loss, 10 sacks, and 6 QB hits. So I'm thinking right here, here's the biggest snub from first or second team defense for the SWAC all conference teams. Who would when we was talking about this the other day, who in my opinion would I replace him with? Who in my opinion would I replace him with? I mean, who would I replace him? Who would I replace to put him into that? You know what I'm saying?
Who would you take away from that?
Yeah, who I take away from that? You know, you get what I'm saying, man. I'm tongue tied over here.
That's what I'm here for you, brother.
So this is I looked at his tape. When they played Jackson State, he had 2 sacks on Shedeur. That was the only other time that you seen a team game plan for Jackson State.
Is this the kid from Sanford?
Yeah, he transferred
Oh,
from Sanford.
listen, that guy's a man. He's a man.
And he got snubbed out of the awards.
Yeah, that boy, he's a man.
So
Him and that Gaddy. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Jackson State, played Alabama State. Alabama State played with no offense. They defense played the whole game.
They played the whole game.
They played this boy here. I'm sorry, not this boy, but this young man is a man. I remember when they reported that he transferred from Sanford.
Yeah.
This guy's now is he gone or he coming back?
I think he coming back. I think
he gonna raise hell. He gonna raise hell because he was dominant this year. I watched him.
Another person who got snubbed that I seen, Adrian Maddox, freshman. He's a freshman. Played cornerback. Talking about a big, tall, rangy, strong cornerback. 6'3", 205. 49 total tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble return, 2 interceptions, 1 QB hit, 1 pass breakup, and he blocked the kick.
Yeah.
So
he was nice.
He was nice also.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people been talking about he should have been the freshman of the year. And I kind of have to go back to, we was talking about this Tuesday, and when I seen Blue was talking about this, he was like, Adrian Maddox gonna be upset that he didn't get picked for freshman of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I have now this is an actual argument that we can have right here, because in a sense, Kevin Coleman is the freshman of the year, but I feel like he didn't do as a lot as Adrian Maddox did.
Well, you do have an argument, but the thing is, and Mr. Ford and Doc, winning matters.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. He came, see, this Coleman, and you're right about that kid from Alabama State, but see, Coleman comes in with that Jackson State hype. Okay, Jackson State right now is like the old Notre Dame. Back in the old days, if you were a running back for Notre Dame, you were automatically considered for the Heisman, whether you could play or not. But this Coleman came in 4-star, St. Louis. You got Dion behind you. You got Jackson State. So you got to understand that, okay? But you're right about that kid I watched that kid, especially against Florida A&M. That kid is going to be that kid will probably get a chance to go pro. That corner you talking about from Alabama State, he's got size and speed, got range. He's going to get a chance to go pro.
And I'm not saying, like, I'm looking at like, hey, he's not a bad kid or anything. He's he's hardworking. He put in the work that he did for his
But it's just
year.
like last year, like O'Kill Glass got the Walter Payton Award, right?
Yeah.
And you could have had an argument that Shedeur should have won that.
Yeah.
With the winning record. So this is what happens a lot of times. And the thing is, Kevin Coleman, he only had 1 TD, but he had a kick return for a TD. They called back. A couple of other things. There was different things. But you're 100% right. The other kid maybe should have got it. But this is like you said, when you got a media machine behind you, what Jackson State has.
That's right.
Winning. And when you go 11-0, it's like in pros.
That's right.
The team that gets the most wins is going to get the most all pros.
Oh, yeah. Now, see, and I'm still shocked about, I haven't heard nothing about that guy, Harry Williams, being dismissed or reassigned at Alabama State. He killed them this year. Listen, I'm trying, and I'm not being facetious about it. Alabama State could have easily won 9 or 10 games this year.
They should have won 9 10
That's what I'm
games. They should
saying.
at
They
least
just
won
didn't have no offense. And let me tell you, that defensive secondary for Alabama State with Urshad Davis and them, all them kids can play. All them kids can play.
Oh yeah.
That's why they won. That's why
like especially they should have won that. They should have won that game when they played Florida and FAMU.
Yeah, they should have beat Florida A&M. They should have beat Pine Bluff.
Pine Bluff, yeah.
Yeah, and
So
they should have beat Texas Southern. I mean, not Texas Southern. They should have beat Prairie View.
Instead of a team being said as that team being 6-5, they could have been easily 8-3 or 9-2.
Yeah, when I said 9 or 10, listen, I tell people nobody wants to give them credit, but you know my granddad and them said you give people credit what credit's due. That Donald Hill Ely. Now, I didn't agree with his coaching, especially offensively. He left them some players.
Yeah.
The cup was not bad now. That was some players left for Eddie Robinson when he got there.
Yep.
Donald Hill Ely did some recruiting now. He did that now.
Yeah.
And then we got, so the biggest one we talking about is between Aubrey Miller. We already read his stats up. And this guy right here, Bubba Adams from Alabama State. You talking about a kid right here. He's been on the program for 4 years. He actually redshirted because I think he tore his knee.
Yeah, he did.
One season, his sophomore year.
He did.
And he actually played. He played lights out this year too.
Yes, he did.
And y'all see what he did as far as his stats go. Now. I understand we talking about Aubrey Miller because Aubrey spearheaded the number one defense in the nation.
And a generational defense. It's that defense going to be talked about. Defense. Yeah, it's a generational defense.
He did what he had to do. That's and the way you look at it is that it's not his fault that he's in a scheme to where he doesn't cover such and such, or he doesn't kind of read and react. You know what I'm saying? It's not his fault that he's in that type of defensive scheme. A lot of players in the NFL, I say 9 times out of 10 are not in a read and react type defense.
Right.
Most of these defenses are attack mode defenses.
Right.
Unless you're playing, unless you're like, let me get an example. Kind of like, let's say, Jacksonville, in a sense, where you don't want somebody to beat you, but you're not going to attack. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to attack the offense's weaknesses through blitzes and schemes and stunts. So I cannot blame Aubrey for being on the number one defense, where his defensive coordinator is an ex-NFL player plus defensive coordinator. So,
but now, let me say this about Coulter. Now he has, we call him Bubba. Bubba has been ignored, and like you said, Bubba had a great year. But see, here's the thing: I'm expecting Aubrey Miller to go up in the NFL and make some noise. I'm expecting him to do some things. I'm not expecting him to be no practice player. I mean, I'm not practice squad player. I'm expecting him to go to the NFL. Now, this is another thing a lot of people argue with me about. I basically believe that Aubrey's not going to go as an inside linebacker. I think he's going to be moved to a stand-up defensive end like a James Harrison. You remember James Harrison with the Steelers? Yeah. He's that kind of guy. And I think they're going to move him. He's going to be a pass rush defensive end on the weak side, or other words, on the right side of the defense. He'll come to a right-hander's back, to his blind side. Because I really believe his position is going to be changed once he gets to the NFL.
Yeah. And we talking about Bubba, Bubba Adams. He is a prototypical middle linebacker. Yeah,
right.
He's prototypical middle linebacker. He basically, both of them had the same objective: see ball, hit ball. That's what you do.
And he had an outstanding game against Florida A&M. He had an outstanding game against A&M.
And I can't fault him for having games where he had 18 tackles and 19 tackles. And 17. He was out there playing with his hair on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's relying on, if you have a not an adequate offense, you're going to be on the field and you have more opportunities to get tackles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
JSU were blowing teams out, and a lot of times, you know what? A lot of teams went to the pass or at least try to go to the pass. You know,
Yeah.
a lot. And the thing is, Aubrey Miller had a phenomenal year. But also, listen, his leadership was big too.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
His leadership was outstanding.
And I say about Aubrey. When he came out of high school out of Whitehaven,
right?
He played linebacker, but he also played running back too. So it's not like this guy don't have no type of speed whatsoever.
Right.
He doesn't have any type of speed. He has speed. You seen it when he picked up the fumble return.
There you go. That's right.
In the first game he played. So it's not like he can't run. He can run. Yeah. And he also, and to me, I feel like he also can read and react. Because as a middle linebacker, you are, in a sense, you are supposed to read where, you read the line, you read how it's supposed to be, and you're supposed to react. You react to the ball.
Do you remember Greg Lloyd, Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Big Greg Lloyd.
Aubrey is similar to him, too. He's now, one thing, if Aubrey hits your quarterback, he might not get up. He might not get up. When he pass rush and hit your quarterback, listen, he ended that Davis kid, and it was somebody else he hit. This guy here, he brings a sting now when he hits you. If he gets to your quarterback, he might not get up.
I think he put out
I know he did the Davis kid.
He put out he didn't get a chance to put out Musa.
Yeah, he did it, but listen, he scared him bad enough.
As a team, they did.
Yeah, they scared him.
I think he really Malik Williams, he almost put him, he should have been put out the game against when they played Campbell. And like I said, Brian, you already know what I said about Campbell. Campbell is who they are. They ain't never been a team that have been above 500. They ain't never been a team that actually won a conference title. They haven't been a team where they scare people. They have always been a middle of the pack team. Don't get me wrong. Mike Mentor can coach and he can recruit players from the areas that he's in.
Right.
But as you know, that I'm just saying just about Campbell as a team, as a program, they are who they are. And
listen, I can see Mike Mentor going to a Power 5, not as a head coach, but as a defensive coordinator, maybe a position coach. Now, if this was it Matt Rule, the guy that just took the Nebraska job, if he was smart, I would bring Mentor in as defense coordinator. I'd bring him in as DC.
Hey, as if he's smart enough to do it. So the next person, I want to say it's a snub, but it's questionable, is this guy right here, Isaiah Land.
Oh, he was awesome this year. He was the best defensive player on Florida A&M's team. He was the best. They was talking about that Land kid and all that. This kid here was the one. That major kid, he came from a junior college. I think he's from Oklahoma somewhere. That kid was the best kid. He was the best defensive player at FAMU. He was the MVP.
I think you're talking about, was it Isaiah Major?
Major, yeah. That's the kid came from the junior college.
Okay, so because Isaiah Land, to me, he really
was overrated. He's overrated.
I don't see him being first team.
He's overrated. Isaiah Land is overrated.
Now, we was talking about this last night. I know you was on the call. I don't know if Brian, you was on the call last night. So we was talking to Big Daddy Gaddy on Ken's show last night. And Niles Gaddy was the only person on the defense for Jackson State that teams literally had to game plan for.
Right.
Well, especially after that first game against FAMU, they had film on him, so they said no. We're getting into the lab. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna make so where somebody's gonna chip him. We're gonna double team him.
And he had like 2 sacks taken away from him. That's what his dad told, because he said he watched the whole thing, and it's just certain things you have to look at. And you have to be like, okay, man, He's supposed to have 3 sacks in the FAMU game. He's supposed to have 4.5 sacks in the Tennessee State game.
Yeah.
And then after that, you see it because you said he was saying, well, you have to understand after the Tennessee State game, he was nicked up, but everybody game plan for him. Like, but you're talking about a guy that was that can be a stand-up rusher, because in a sense they brought him in as a linebacker, but
he's still learning.
He's still learning how to be an actual defensive end. So he can stand up and rush. He can put his hand in the dirt and get to the quarterback. And then two, we're talking about a guy that not only he had to take on the tackles, he also had to take on, a tackle guard combination, because most of the time they double teamed this kid right here. They double teamed him.
What I see him, if he gets more flexible and learns how to bend, this guy's gonna be dangerous.
Yeah, and his dad already said he's I guess when he get back home, he's gonna be back in the lab. He's gonna be in the lab.
Yeah.
And he's gonna do what he's gonna do what he can, do what he do.
Because what is he, 6'5"?
6'4", but
6'4",
shoot, his dad said he's like 6'6" though.
Yeah.
And and this is what we was learning about yesterday. He said he's only playing at 230 pounds because they he wants to put him to put on like another 15 pounds of muscle.
Right. And
I was like, man, if you do that, that kid gonna be nasty coming his junior year. Like you just have to realize, like, he's gonna be real nasty when coming to his junior year.
He'll be a junior next year?
He'll be a junior next year because he transferred in. He didn't play when he was at Tennessee. Okay. He transferred in. He wore like he redshirted. So yeah. Another person I feel like that should have is Ronnie Thomas. This kid right here, he led the league in sacks.
That's Mississippi Valley.
Yep.
Yeah. That whole defense was fire. Yeah, I remember them. And they played hard.
Yeah, they played hard. The problem is they selected him as a linebacker, but when I went back and did my research, he actually played linebacker this season. Last season, he had his hand in the dirt because he was playing on the other side of Jerry Garner.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
And I think the defensive tackle that they if you put that if you put Mississippi Valley's defensive line with the resources and everything else, they will be a force.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I basically think that all our coach needs to do, they got to give him more money to get offensive coaches. And the other thing I want coaching them to look at, because of the situation in that valley, they got to look at a triple option offense. Like a Kennesaw State or Georgia Tech used to run. See, those offenses are hard to prepare for, but you can run them with not the 4 and 5 star. You can beat people with the 1 or 2 star, no star with that triple option. Because Kennesaw State beat behind with no stars.
Right. Yeah, I think I'm gonna see who else I got on here. I think that's my last one. That's my last slide right there. But in a sense, Isaiah Land needed to be second team.
Yeah, he didn't play enough.
Then you would, so you take him, take Isaiah Land off the second string. Off the first team. You put Nelson Jordan in his place.
Right.
What about Jerome? Is it Jerome Brown for JSU?
Jeremiah Brown.
Yeah, he played a great year, man.
Yeah, I think he is second team. Yeah. He was second team.
Yeah, he had a great year.
Then a lot of people was talking about, well, what happened? What's up with Travis? The
Well,
thing about it
Travis-
was Travis didn't qualify because
Yeah.
he didn't play enough snaps.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That's a no-brainer, though.
Yeah.
Travis.
But now let me say this about these all conference teams and all that. Now, usually now it comes down to politics.
100%.
Right.
You know that, right? Because I mean, if you go back and look at the history of those all conference, all kind of great people were left off, and it was because deals were made between school. This is our boy. You pick him, and then I'm gonna vote for your boy. It's a lot of politics involved in these all conference teams. I know y'all know that now.
Now
So, a lot of politics.
Another person I felt like should have been first team all conference was Alejandro Mata.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, the Jackson.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, he was awesome. The field goal kicker.
Yeah.
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 He
He's
should have been
he's
first
from here.
team.
Yeah.
He should have been first team because he
Yeah.
only missed one PAT. He only missed a field goal because
yeah.
they both got blocked.
Oh yeah.
Chris Fadul from Florida A&M is his first team, but he didn't have that type of season that Mata had for
right. He's coming off was it ACL or MCL?
Mm-hmm.
But now all of the reports I'm reading, there's a possibility that Fadul kid is going to be drafted.
Hey.
Because now this was his senior year, but the year before he got hurt, I think he was injured last year.
Okay.
But the season he had, the scouts, the majority of the pro scouts, they were coming to see him.
Right.
They were coming to Florida. They were coming to see him.
They like his leg.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's some people who believe this kid might not get drafted, but he gonna get a shot. He'll probably sign.
All right. So the next thing we're gonna talk about, man. I know we were talking about this earlier. Schools that's looking for a new coach. That's looking for a new coach, and y'all already know the first school I'm put on there. The Colorado Buffaloes came off a 1-11 season, dead last in every statistical category in the Pac-12, and probably was almost dead last in every statistical category in all of FBS. So I'm gonna read off some names.
Here's a great hire that I know you're gonna say, Eric Bieniemy.
That's right. That's who should go there.
Yeah.
They owe it to him.
They owe it to him. That's one person out. If I'm Colorado, I don't care. I probably go back. I'll go to Cordell Stewart's house to try to get him to come back to coach. I'll go to. I remember there's a dude. He's from here. He's from Dallas. He went to Lake Hollis. Named Marcus Stiggers. I be calling him. He ain't doing too much anything right now. I be calling him. You want to coach?
You see, with Eric Bieniemy in Kansas City, they don't give him the credit that is due. They always talk about, you know what I mean, Andy Reid. Yeah, Andy Reid's obviously a good play caller.
Yeah.
But Eric Bieniemy calls all the plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, goes back to his alumni. And you know what? He's a great offensive mind. He proved it for years.
Yeah.
Not only with Patrick Mahomes, he proved it with Alex Smith.
Yeah.
He's proven.
Yeah.
If he wants a head coach, obviously he wants NFL, but it seemed like they're snubbing him there because they don't give him the credit that is due to the man.
No, they don't.
The thing is, if he wants to go be a head coach, if he doesn't mind going to the collegiate rank, I think Colorado would be a great place for him.
I do too. I think it'd be a great, and like I said, to me, they owe it to him. He when he was there, they had some great teams,
and they'll be patient with him.
Yeah,
they had some great teams.
They had some great teams.
So everybody knows that Ryan is Coach Prime, kind of lead the pack with this, but is also Ryan Walters, who's also a Colorado alum.
Mm-hmm.
That's in a talk, the talks with the school. But like I said, I would go with Bieniemy, and Bieniemy can get his staff, and I feel like if Bieniemy can get the job with Colorado, he'll go find his old teammate. I wouldn't mind him going to find Dion Figures to coach the secondary.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really think about it, you gotta you really think about it. Prime went and got Kevin Smith,
Oh
Kevin Mathis, and
Yeah.
had your coach come coach.
yeah. Alan Ricard,
Alan Ricard,
Jeff Weeks. All them was Baltimore people. Those were the Ravens.
Yeah.
So it was getting like in a sense that those coaches that's with him was gifted to him.
Yeah. Well, you
But
know,
he-
if
it's
the
also
enemy
that
goes
he
to
had-
Colorado, he can go get any player out of South Central LA he wants.
Yeah.
Everybody knows him.
Yep. And the only thing is, our kids nowadays want to go up there to play in Colorado. We're talking about going to play at a place that was not good, that has not been good for like the last
30 years.
30 years. They haven't they're not too much receptive of black people in Boulder.
Right. There you go.
And do you want to deal with snow and the altitude?
Right. That's it.
That's a different ball game.
There you go.
It's a different ball game when you get to Boulder.
To be honest with you, the last time Colorado was relevant was Rashad Salam. They stole the Heisman from Steve McNair and gave it to him.
Steve McNair.
That's about the last time they were relevant.
I remember when I used to play up in Salt Lake City, and the first time I played up there, man, I was sucking wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different. It's a different ball game.
Yeah, it is.
Next school on the list is USF. They dismissed Jeff Scott
Right.
early in the month. Like, look, when he took over this team, he took over the team in 2020. This man has not won in 3 years.
He wasn't ready.
He wasn't ready.
He wasn't ready.
He was 4-26, y'all.
Yeah. Well, Dabo Sweeney got that job for him. Dabo and them campaigned and got him that job. Plus, you know, his see, these guys all know each other. You know, the other night I was telling somebody about Jimbo Fishing and how Jimbo got all his jobs through who he knows. They got a coaching fraternity.
That's right.
And they campaigned for one another. Dabo and them got that job for him because Dabo is friends with his daddy. His daddy was named Brad Scott, I think. Brad and them used to work for they worked at Florida State under the old man, under Bobby Bowden. Then he went up to maybe South Carolina or Clemson or somewhere as a coach. But they campaigned for one another. See, that's why I kept telling people, y'all need to stop worrying about Dion. Dion is not in that fraternity. No, he's not in that fraternity.
He don't kiss tail either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, you know, because when they was telling out about Dion was coming to Georgia Tech, I told them from day one, that's a lie. The people over there at Georgia Tech, they ain't going to have Snoop walking their campus.
No.
Georgia Tech and Stanford.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Are the hardest schools to recruit for because of the academic standards that they hold, they hold themselves to.
Yeah.
So,
and don't forget racist. They racist too.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
David Shaw left out of Stanford. He was there for 16 years.
Yeah.
The last 12 as the head coach because Harbaugh went to the NFL and then went back to Michigan. But this team, the candidates that you see that I'm reading off is some big time names. Dan Mullen used to be head coach at Florida and Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Manny Diaz used to be the former head coach over in Miami.
He's trash.
That was I said that last night.
Trash.
I told that to Ken. I said no, I would not
hire Manny Diaz. Now, everywhere he goes, he messes up a program.
As a defensive coordinator, yes, I would put him on my squad, on my coordinator staff as a defensive coordinator. But as a head coach, no.
Oh, he's trash.
No,
he's terrible.
Jeff Lebby, who is the OC at Oklahoma, of course, Coach Prime. Now we're gonna have to scratch out the name on here was Tom Herman. Scratch it off because guess what?
FAU.
He got the job at FAU.
FAU, yeah.
So then you got Scott Frost, who's over in Nebraska and UCF. So Scott Frost basically knows the area of South Florida. You got Willie Simmons from fam, he's Florida all the way through.
But they don't want him. They don't want him. That's that Rooney rule in college. Let's say that we interviewed a black man. They don't want him. The two you just called out two great candidates. That Tom Herman, I remember the job he did at Houston, and that Scott Frost, the job he did at UCF. He needs to come back to Florida. Because let me tell you something. When Scott Frost left UCF and went up there to Nebraska, he messed up. Because I'm telling you, Nebraska's irrelevant.
Yeah. One name that two names I'm gonna tell you that people need to look out for in these coaching jobs is Kendall Brown's Art Brown's son.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he's the OC at Arkansas,
right?
And then Todd Monken over at Georgia, he's the OC.
Yeah, Todd's gonna get a job soon. Todd's gonna get a job.
So I would be looking at those, and then Jamie Chadwell from
listen, I've been up to Myrtle Beach. That guy, listen, he's better than a lot of them Power 5 coaches. That guy's good, man. That guy Jamie Chadwell is good.
So yeah, I'm like you, Mr. Ford. If I'll be looking at Scott Frost and I'll be looking at Dan Mullen, and I'll probably looking at Jamie Chadwell too.
Yeah, I look at it man. Listen. If it came down to, like you said, Scott Frost, Jamie Chadwell, and Dan Mullen, I would go go with Jamie, Scott, and then Dan Mullen.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the next on the list, Cincinnati. Now there was reports earlier that Cincinnati that they was going to try to talk to Brian Hartline.
Yeah, I heard that too.
State.
Yeah.
He's the receivers coach from at Ohio State.
Oh yeah.
Now, I would probably go with him because he knows Ohio. I mean, he's an Ohio native.
Right.
You'll be in South Ohio, so you're closer to like Louisville, so you can actually recruit that area right there, which is rich in football.
Yeah, and Cincinnati's hot. Cincinnati's hot now.
Yep, and especially if you think about it, you can go when you got one more year left in the AAC.
Yeah,
you go to the Big 12.
Yeah, because I told people now that this was before Luke Fickell left. If Luke Fickell had taken them into the Big 12, they would have been the best team in the Big 12.
Yeah,
because they play defense. Because Luke had them playing defense.
Yep,
they would have been the best team.
And so, but from what I heard, that he said that he was not talking to any teams right now.
Okay.
And he's going to stay at Ohio State. But that's just talk to say, I probably am talking to a team right now.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to tell you until I make my decision.
Yeah, both seasons coming up. They don't want to, upset the apple cart,
Now, listen, Tom Herman would be good up there in Cincinnati, too.
Yep.
Tom Herman would be, because he has doesn't he have an Ohio State background?
Yep. But he got hired on at Florida Atlantic.
Yeah. But then, like I said, now Scott Frost would be good up there.
Yep.
Scott Frost would be, Yeah, I think Scott Frost would be good.
So then the next team right here, UNLV. This is kind of surprising to me because they started off 0-6 and they ended up 5-7 for the year.
Right.
The coach they let go.
That's a hot market. That's a hot market in Vegas now. You know what I mean?
Actually, I take that back. They didn't start out 0-6. They started out 4-1, and then they lost 6 in a row before they won the last game. But like you said, it is a hot market. You are playing in an NFL stadium. Yeah. If you're the head coach.
What they need to do at UNLV is go and find a white Dion Sanders. Somebody from the NFL got the swagger, gonna fit in with them mobsters in Vegas, and go with that. Now, I don't know who that would be, but it's got to be a name. one of them. Really, the guy they should have got, he just signed with UAB. Trent Differ would have been great in Vegas.
Trent Differ
would have been now. Trent Differ's gonna make a difference in UAB. Y'all just watch and see. He's gonna make a difference.
I'll tell you about him. He's been coming up the ranks in the high school ranks.
Yeah,
it's not like he ain't no slouch.
He gonna listen. He gonna bring them NFL people just like Dion. He gonna bring them NFL people in there, and before you know it, some Power Fives are gonna snatch him up because they getting ready to go. What now? UAB, are they joining the AAC? What are they joining?
I think they are joining the AAC.
Listen, a Power Five gonna snatch him up in the next 3-4 years because I'm telling you, Trent's gonna do well.
So
and Birmingham too.
So the coaching candidates for this job at UNLV is Brian Harsin. I wouldn't touch him with. I wouldn't touch him because he has too much baggage from being at Auburn. Of course, they got Scott Frost on here. Ryan Grubb, who is the OC at University of Washington.
Yeah, I know him.
A name that people not even talking about, but he's up there, and it's his alma mater. Keenan McCardell.
Oh,
yeah.
He's with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, remember Keenan? Yeah.
So he's a wide receiver coach with the Minnesota Vikings.
Right.
Look what he's doing with Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and them guys up there. Troy Taylor, who is the head coach over at Sacramento State, he has the number 2 ranked team undefeated in the playoff right now, and a name that people has not heard of in the last 2 years, Gary Patterson, former head coach of TCU.
Listen, I think you might be. Patterson might have to be number 1 because I watched Patterson at TCU.
And I told
he might have to be number 1.
And he can recruit.
Yeah.
He can recruit. But the thing about Gary Patterson is, like I said, he could take a no-name person.
Right.
Went to a 1A, 2A, 3A school. Shoot, I remember when he took a kid that played 6-man football out of the state and turned him into one of the best linebackers in the damn nation.
You know what? The key for UNLV is they got to get them some boys out of California. But see, Patterson can get them kids out of Texas.
Yep.
He can get them boys out of Texas. You know what? I think Patterson should be number 1. I'll be honest with you. He should be number 1.
And I heard when I look at the report, I read the report that somebody was actually UNLV actually want him to be the head coach. I'm like, I hold my horses, but I'm gonna see who can I actually go to. You know what I'm saying? Who can I actually interview before I can whittle down the finalists for the job?
Right.
So now the next team on the list is Texas State. They let go of their coach.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not saying that Dion will go to San Marcos and become the head coach over there. But you got to realize that Texas State, they got money.
Didn't they just hire somebody today or yesterday?
Yesterday.
Yeah, they got the guy from Carson and Word.
No. They haven't got him yet. They haven't gotten him. They haven't got nobody yet. Now the other jobs for that is Tulsa. So GJ Kenny might be going up to Tulsa.
Okay, that's the guy from Incarcerated Word.
Yeah.
Okay, he'll do well out there.
Yeah, and plus he used to go to he is a Tulsa alum.
Yeah, he'll do well.
But I feel like he needs to stay. He still does good in Texas. But this job opened up like a couple of days ago, so I don't see Prime going to Texas State. I mean, but if you go to San Marcos, you go to Texas State University, that campus is big. And it's a beautiful campus. It sits right there on the San Marcos River, where a lot of kids go out there during the summertime. They go tubing and stuff like that. But I don't see him going there because of the simple fact that you gotta kind of scrape off the muck of the previous coach.
Well, to go back to what you were just saying earlier. Now, historically, when we talk about the Frank Brawls and those coaches that were at Oklahoma and at Arkansas. You know, all the players came from Texas, right? All their players came from Adrian Peterson. Them, you know, he was
Oh yeah,
Texas
yeah.
guy.
I remember. Ooh,
They went to
yeah, I
Oklahoma.
remember. Adrian
But you
Peterson,
know,
yeah.
historically, all of the players, if you played for Oklahoma or you played for Arkansas, 9 out of 10 times you was from Texas.
Yeah, I remember when OU got. I remember the story when OU came. When Barry Switzer came to Hooks, Texas, to get
Right.
Billy Sims.
That's right.
Bob Stoops came all the way to Palestine.
Right.
To pick up Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, they've always lived off of them.
I remember those stories. I remember that story. Cedric Walker told me. I'm gonna see what he's saying. I believe Coach Prime should stay and wait on the Florida Gators job next year. I believe Coach Prime is an SEC coach or other big time Power 5 coach, not a rebuild Power 5 coach.
But this is what I gotta say. Why does everybody so enamored to move Coach Prime to a Power 5? This is my thing there. The thing is this. If it was about a bag, I can understand that. But like I said again, Mr. Ford, and I'll repeat myself again.
Yeah.
He said God called him collect, and he answered.
Right.
He said he also said that, you know what I mean? He wanted to level the playing field. Is the playing field level yet?
No, not close.
So if you're in doing that, to aspire to do that, you got to put in a little bit of longevity.
Yeah.
You can't do it after 2 years. He's had success in 2 years, but it's not successful, like I said previously. The thing is, it's all nice. And why, as Black people, that we always want to make it look like if you go to a white institution, you made it.
We believe that their water's colder.
It boggles my mind.
Yeah.
You know, it's every other ethnic group will stick together, combine the resources, and you know what? They'll lift each other up. But no, we have to be like the bugs in the barrel.
That's right, crabs in the barrel.
I got Coach,
pull them back down.
You got Coach Simmons in the building. Oh, now it is true. You are right, Mr. Ford.
Mm-hmm.
GJ Kenny is he's finalizing contract to be the new head coach over at Texas State.
Oh, he's going to okay. He should do well. That's a good comp. That's Sun Belt, right?
Yep, that's Sun Belt.
Listen, man, that Sun Belt raised sand this year. They whooped some Power 5 behind this weekend. And the other thing is, I'm watching to see is Art Browse going to get Liberty, because the word is Art Browse is going to Liberty.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Liberty. Oh, it's on.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna be honest with you. You got to understand. We're talking about a Liberty squad. In fact, that's who the next team. I think that's the next team right there. Liberty.
Yeah. Listen, for the last 2 or 3 years, Liberty has beat up on the ACC, with the exception of Clemson. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they beat up on the man. Hugh Freeze beat up on the ACC the last 2 or 3 years.
And then
he beat everybody with the exception of Clemson.
And then he put a quarterback in the league as a high.
Yes, it's Malik Willis,
a lottery pick.
Yeah. And listen, they had messed over Malik down there at Auburn for Bo Nix. He goes to Liberty, and like you said, the rest is history. He's in the league.
Reports. Well, I'm looking at reports. Art Browse not a candidate for the Liberty jobs, despite relationship with the athletic director Ann McCall.
Yeah, they go back to Baylor.
Yeah, I think he don't want to be able. I don't think you want to, because in a sense, that's what happened to you when you was at Baylor. That nobody like had your back and stuff. But his name is still hot.
He's hot.
His
That's
name
why I was so upset with my alma mater that we let him walk. Now he's good enough for Liberty, but he wasn't good enough for Grambling. Man,
yeah, that's it. And to be honest with you, it would have took him at least a year or two to get the offense going for Grambling.
Well, now let me just say this. The biggest problem at Grambling this year was the mishandling of that quarterback situation. Like I'm going to say this again. Calvez should have been redshirted. Hawkins should have been at least third or fourth string. I personally, I wanted to see that kid from Texas, the kid that went to Syracuse. Was it Chance Army?
Chance Amy.
Yeah. I thought that was the quarterback. And I thought it was some other kids on there because I like the spark that Calvez gave us. Calvez should have been redshirted. He should have been redshirted. They mishandled that whole situation. That's why I'm saying now, like you said earlier, you correct. Listen, he on the clock next year now. He on the clock.
You got to be on the clock.
Yeah, he on the clock next year.
The only thing with you, Jackson, that I agree with Mr. Ford is this. You didn't look like a guy that wanted to be there.
Yeah.
You know, and I know maybe that's his personality. Maybe, California guy, laid back, chill, whatever. But sometimes you got to have a little bit of fire in you.
Yeah.
You got to show your players that, you know what I mean, and maybe show behind the scenes. But on the sidelines, man, it's just, and the last game I watched against Southern, they quit on him.
Yeah, and I thought he quit on them too.
Yeah, I agree.
And if you really you look at that game, when it's not when Southern got the lead when they was up 21-17, it was more when Calvin they hit that boy straight up the middle.
Yeah,
he fumbled the ball and they did the scoop and score.
So, yeah. Well, now let me tell you, for about 5 or 6 minutes, that's the best defense Southern had played all year. That's why I keep telling everybody, Southern can play defense like Georgia. They can use 20, 25 people and not have a fall off. But because the defense coordination is so simplistic, that's their major problem. And here's the thing, Dooley, he's all offense. He's not going to do anything about that defense. He's not going to do any. He's going to let them get him fired. But see, the person I keep telling everybody that's got to straighten this out is Roman Banks, the athletic director. Dooley is an offensive coordinator in a head coach's position. Okay? Roman Banks got to straighten this out.
I'll tell you like this. This is something that we, he was on Scotty's show last year. Southern should have never ran off Dawson Odoms. Well, they ran that man all the way back to Virginia, even though it was the last year of his contract.
Right. But now you know what that was about, right? You know what that was about, right?
They wanted to get Dooley in there.
Well, the other thing was Dawson couldn't do nothing with Jay Hobson. Okay, that burnt them people up in Baton Rouge. That he could never beat Jay Hobson. Jay went in there and beat him on a homecoming. They had like 35,000 there, 33 or 35,000. Jay beat him on a homecoming. Okay, Jay leaves and goes to Southern Miss. Okay, Fred comes in and he can't even beat Fred. And you listen, you know how this is. We talking about rural Mississippi versus the capital city of Louisiana. You know how them people thinking. You gonna let these country bunkers come in here and beat us? You got to go. We don't. That's what that was all about. That's what that. Because see, he had a good record in the Bayou Classic. They were mad with him about Alcorn. Yeah. Their whole thing was we got 7,000-8,000 students. Alcorn barely got 3,500, and you gonna let them come in here and beat us? And so the administration, they really didn't value Dawson. They didn't value.
Yeah, they didn't. They really didn't because
that
man, he didn't get the team to a SWAC championship, but damn it, he been giving y'all winning seasons year after year after year.
Oh yeah. To be honest with you, he's better than Dooley. He's better than Dooley. He's more organized than Dooley.
Oh yeah.
Because the thing I keep telling people, the number one problem I saw with Grambling Saturday night, we undisciplined, but guess what? Southern is too. Southern is undisciplined.
Well, we've seen that. We've seen that with the video they made before a game.
Yeah, right.
I mean? That's very evident. And the thing is, Mr. Ford, Dooley. Here's what Dooley reminds me of. I'm going to compare him to. He's a good. Everybody says he's a great offensive coordinator. I haven't seen that this year personally. He reminds me of Ted Bowles in the NFL for Tampa Bay. Todd Bowles is a great defensive coordinator, but he's a terrible head coach.
Right.
He is a terrible head coach.
Yeah.
And the thing is with Dooley, see what happens sometimes. Coaches or players, and you know just as well I do, Mr. Ford, they get in their own way. Their ego gets in their way.
Right.
And you know what? Instead of him adjusting, you know, he's playing that. Thank God for Jackson State. He's going to play that kid again. You know what I mean? And he's going to stick to him. He might put another quarterback. He might do a little bait and switch kind of thing. But he's just so stuck. Now he's got a guy that's basically a running back playing quarterback.
That's what I said. I called him an athlete. That's what he is. He's an athlete.
He's an athlete.
He's an athlete.
And when you look at the game, and when I did my research on him, it's like when they are in 4 wide receiver set. If you got 3 at the top, 1 at the bottom, and your running back, that running back is not getting that ball. They're looking at him as a blocking back, as a fullback, as a lead fullback, and your running back is Bashawn McCray.
Right.
When he get his head down, when he put his head down, it's time for him to. You already know when he put his head down, his pass is low. He is trying to run through you.
Yeah.
He's trying to run through you. And I mean, don't get me wrong, because that's telling me that the kid has toughness, but also looking at the tape, when he's inside of the pocket, when he's from tackle to tackle inside of the pocket, he cannot see over those linemen.
Right.
So that's the reason why he has a 1 progression read. He doesn't.
That's him. Yeah, that's him.
Defense.
That's him.
He can't see the passing lane. Then also you look at it, but when you get him out and roll him out and get him in some throwing lanes,
right,
it's easy for him.
Right.
And then he also doesn't check down.
Right.
You don't check down to your running back, like, dude, your running back can get you at least 5-6 yards. I think it was 36 on the first drive in the first quarter. And I seen it. The route concepts was not that great for Southern, but I seen the running back run out of the backfield, and it was like a miniature wheel route, but the running back didn't he flattened out the real wheel route. He didn't like kind of curve it in, and so McCray throws the ball to him. He throws it to him. The running back catches it, but he doesn't have he has the momentum of he's getting the momentum again going out of bounds. He don't have the momentum where he can get the ball, stop, and turn upfield.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at a kid like that, it's like you got to game plan. You got to change your offense and plan it to where he can actually see the throwing lanes.
Yeah.
And then another thing Southern don't do, they don't use the tight end well.
Yeah, but it's hard to use a tight end when you got a quarterback don't see over the line. You know what I mean?
and see the other thing, the person that used to bail Bashawn out was that kid, Gerard Sims. They missing Gerard, they're missing Kobe Diller, and Bashawn has killed Petrie. Petrie can play. Petrie's a kid who came from Rice, and another kid on the other side, Dyson. Them kids can play.
Yeah,
but he kills them. He kills them.
And I don't understand why Petrie only has like 20.
That's McCray. That's because he can't get to him. The game that he got to him in the Alcorn game, but he hasn't been able to get to him since. Because like you said, he's a once when he look, wherever that play is called, once he look and that guy's covered, he taking off.
Yeah, well, he's got itchy feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's dancing in the pocket.
That's right.
The thing is, he's looking to run and not looking to pass.
Right.
You know, and it's okay to look to pass then to run, but he's looking to run. And the thing is also there is when you have a quarterback that's not accurate and, you know, and has good ball placement, you know what I mean? So instead of going back shoulder or you lead a receiver where he can catch and he's still on the run, he can't do that. You know what I mean? That's not his skill set. So when somebody doesn't have a skill set, they're limited. And when they're limited, they don't usually find success.
Now, I'm gonna take an example. Look at Trayvon Conley for Prairie View. You see what the offensive coordinator does for him because they know he is limited in
Pass. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They put the offense. They cater the offense around him.
Right.
And it's not the fact. It's not his fault that he has like 3 capable good running backs, even though one of them is already in transfer portal. Jalen Stewart.
He can play. Jalen can play.
He can play.
Yeah.
But they formed that game plan around him to where he can run the ball, but when it comes down to it, he knows when to throw the ball. Like if he sees his receivers open, he's gonna throw that ball. He's gonna throw it.
Let me say this about Prairie View. Prairie View really is underachieving. Prairie View should be a 9-10 win team every year. With the resources they got, you right outside of Houston, you in the great state of Texas. Prairie View really should be the other battler on that side against Jackson. They should see Prairie View actually has more money than Southern. And I'm gonna say this again. Prairie View is underachieving.
Yeah.
They underachieving.
I think
they got more money. And they got more students than Southern got.
Yeah. Prairie View got more money than anybody in the SWAC.
That's what I'm saying. Prairie View is underachieving. Prairie View this year should have really got about 9 to 10 wins.
They lost some foolish games.
Yeah. Now how many? Because the one that really got me was when they lost that last game in Mississippi Valley.
Yeah.
Somebody should have been called on the carpet.
Valley always had their number though.
That's what I'm saying. Listen, now how many games did Prairie View win?
Prairie View won 6.
That's ridiculous.
Prairie View won 6 games.
That's ridiculous.
All they have to do. Hey, Brian, what I said last time, they had one job.
That's one job to do.
They
one
had
job.
One job. Your job was to go out there and win against Mississippi Valley.
Right.
I said it. You win against Mississippi Valley, Texas Southern loses, and it don't matter if Southern wins to get in the title game. You got points tiebreaker against Southern.
Right.
That's how they were gonna do it.
Yeah.
But you lose the game. Now it's on Texas Southern. All Texas Southern got to do is just win, because they have the tiebreaker against Southern. When they beat Southern early in the season, you couldn't do that. But all Southern got to do is just win the game.
Yeah. See, Prairie View, 2 biggest games should be Grambling and Southern. If they beat Grambling and Southern, there's no reason they shouldn't win the SWAC. The SWAC East.
SWAC West.
SWAC West. I'm sorry, SWAC West. They underachieving. I'm telling you, they are like Alabama State. They like a sleeping giant. They're a sleeping giant. So, Prairie View should be doing a whole lot better than what they're doing.
Let's see something. Reginald Swan asked. He said, "What about the coach from Campbell?"
I personally think he's going Power 5 as a DC. Now, he was trained by Mike Mentor. Mentor them got all that pull in the NFL. You could see that guy. Not his name is Mike Mentor. I meant Dom Capers.
Yeah.
Dom Capers trained Mike Mentor. Mike played for the Carolina Panthers about 10 years. He played on some good teams over there. But you can either see Mike Mentor going Power 5 as a DC, or possibly going to the NFL as a position coach.
I'm gonna put it like this: if he don't go Power 5, if he go FCS, you think he'll call his friend Sean Gilbert down there at Livingstone College?
Yeah,
to be his defensive coordinator.
There you go. This guy right here, Mike. But see, the thing about Mike is a good guy. Mike does a lot of community work. There are a lot of good things lined up for Mike. Mike is a good guy. Mike one time worked at Johnson C. Smith. That's where I met him. He's a good guy.
Yeah,
he's a good guy. He ain't blinded by the lights and all that mess.
So that's what I'm saying. Like,
he's a real one.
He's a real guy.
Mike Mentor really is Carolina. That's the reason why he can go into those small towns in North Carolina.
Yeah,
to get those kids.
That's right. That's right. Now you know what, and I want to say this because I don't want to forget this. We need either Morgan State or we need Howard University. I'm thinking probably Morgan would do it. We need one of those schools to invite Jackson State to the East Coast and play Jackson, not on their campuses, either at Audi Field in DC,
Giant Stadium.
Giant State, yes, right, at the Meadowlands, or if you can't get the Meadowlands, let's take them to Baltimore. But let me just tell you this: Jackson State needs to be showcased on the East Coast. They need to come to the East Coast.
What about the classic they had up in New Jersey this year?
Oh, I was so mad with them. Now they brought Howard, but then you go and get Morehouse, a Division II school.
Yeah,
you should have brought Jackson State up there so that the people in New York and New Jersey can see Shadua and the rest of them guys, Travis Hunter, all of them guys. Yeah. But we need somebody. I'm thinking is the best is either Morgan State or Howard. We need them to bring Jackson State to the East Coast.
Yeah.
Anybody got some questions for Mr. Ford right now, man? Y'all put them in the chat. Put it in the chat. Y'all got a question for Mr. Ford? But I'm gonna say it like this, Mr. Ford. When it comes down to it, I would play if I'm Howard, or you could say Hampton. You could do Hampton. You could do Howard.
Yeah.
I will do Delaware State just to get Delaware State that recognition that they so deservedly needs.
Yeah.
To play, like you said, play in, I wouldn't say Giant Stadium, but like you said, Audi Field in DC. I would say something like that. Like, but if you play Howard, like when Howard plays Hampton, they play at Audi Field.
Right.
So
good crowd, beautiful
it be a good crowd.
Good crowd.
But the thing about it is with Howard, and there's a lot of I got know a couple of people that went to Howard. I have my cousin, my little cousin goes to Howard right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that Howard haven't been so gung ho about football at Howard for like the last 30 years.
The last time they were really gung ho, that guy was named Steve Wilson. First, he had the guy that does the thing with Tiffany Green. He had Jay Walker. And then after Jay left, it came Ted White. And that was the end of that. White. Yeah.
I remember him.
They called him Sweet Flight.
Yeah, we played them. Jackson State played them the first game of the season.
Year.
I think it was my freshman year or my sophomore year? It was one of those years.
The only thing I was mad about it that time, they was playing people in that little stadium on Howard's campus. You don't need to bring no big time team to the camp. You got to take them off campus.
Now they did tell me that they're going to be doing some improvements they're going to be doing some renovation improvements to the campus and to the stadium.
Green field, green stadium.
Yep. So they're going to be doing some renovations to the stadium to get it up to par because they really can't expand it because they have that reservoir right across the street from them.
Right.
And then they can't get it to because they will entrench into the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But they are from what I'm heard from some Howard alums, they are going to be doing some renovations for Howard University. What's going on? Blue, what's up, Blue? I'm going to get Blue up in here, man. Hey, if Blue, do you want to talk? Let me know before I say before I put the link in here. But yeah, man, like it's some things that you can do.
Well, see, here's the thing with Howard University. Howard has a endowment of about $600 million. They can do anything they want, but it's just not in their culture. They talk a good game, but to me, if Howard would get the right person up there, they could get a Dion Sanders up there. I mean, somebody like of that caliber, because Howard got far more money than Jackson now. You talking about an endowment of $600 million?
Mm-hmm.
They can get anything they want.
Blue just told me, he said Brennan Marion, former Howard OC, is the new favorite for the Tulsa job.
Oh, he's gonna turn it out. He wrote a book. He wrote a book about that go-go offense. He was Cam Newton's little brother's offensive coordinator for Mike London. Ooh.
Oh man, Blue got the flu. You good, bro, man? You good, man? Get well, bro. You just go on and listen in. Just tell me what you got. Some news or anything, any kind of insight. Just let me know. But yeah, if he. So you said he was the offensive coordinator for Cam.
Yeah, for Mike London. He had that Cam's little brother was named Kayla Newton. They were up there for maybe 1 or 2. Mike was there for 1 or 2 years. Mike left Howard and went to William and Mary.
William and Mary.
Okay, Marion, I think it should be with University of Texas. Isn't he at the University of Texas?
Let me see.
Yeah, I think he's a wide receiver coach at the University of Texas, Marion. But he wrote a book called The Go Offense.
Man, was that the one that did they run that offense in the early 90s? Back then,
now he was in the league. He was in the NFL. I want to say the Miami Dolphins or somebody, and then he came out. And I'm trying to think. He might have went back to Tulsa and worked. He might have been down there with Scotty Montgomery and them.
Oh,
yeah. But listen, man. Well, you know what? I was hoping we could get him in HBCU football, man, because he knows some offense now. See if he was a wide receiver coach at the University of Texas.
Let me get his name again. Brandon Mary. All right. Yeah, you're correct. You're right. Passing game coordinator and a wide receivers coach at University of Texas.
Man, listen, could you imagine that guy at Texas Southern? Could you imagine what he would do at Texas Southern?
With Andrew Body?
Ooh, man. Ooh, brother.
Oh, in fact, we got a Texas Southern person up there now, Mr. Armani Harris. His son is a dog too, as a cornerback.
Right,
tall, rangy cornerback as a freshman. Dog. D-Law, they asked if you're gonna see your face one day, Mr. Ford.
Listen, I say too much controversial stuff for y'all to see my face, y'all. You know, I have to stay private. You know, I say a lot of stuff now.
Nah, we all good over here, man.
Yeah.
But man, it's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of teams there's a lot of schools that's being brought up. Like that Tulsa job is going to be nice. And if he can recruit that Oklahoma area.
Well, if he's Tulsa, he's got to go to Texas. He's got to go. And if you Oklahoma, Arkansas, you got to go to Texas. You got to get them kids out of Texas. Texas got enough players for everybody.
The only problem about the Tulsa job is because it's a private school. It's private. You only got 4,000 kids there that go to school there. It's a private school. So
right. What's that conference?
Tulsa is
the AAC?
Mm-hmm.
Or Conference USA?
I think they're AAC.
Whoa, that's a 5 conference. That's an underrated conference.
A lot of people see the American Athletic Conference being like you said, it's underrated.
It's underrated.
Some people thought it was overrated. But that's because of basketball. You know, when it comes to basketball, you got teams like Memphis and UConn in the conference. It's hard. It's hard to get by, but yeah, they are in the American. They ended the season 5-7, so it's not like they can you can improve. You can really improve on that.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
If you get the right coach.
Yeah. See, let me tell you something. With all them schools in that SWAC West should be harvesting Texas. When you talk about Grambling, Southern, Prairie View, Texas Southern, Pine Bluff, who are missing? All that West Side should be getting their players from Texas. All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should get the players from Texas. Texas, we're talking about 28 million people.
Yeah, Blue said he still don't understand why the UIW head coach took the Texas State job instead of the Tulsa job, and he trying to figure out what the contract situation was going to be for about that reason, what they put in there, what kind of incentive that they put in there for him to get that job.
But now Texas State has over 30,000 students, right?
Yep.
Now I'm trying to think. Now who is it that plays in the Alamo Dome? That's not Texas State, is it?
No, that's UTSA.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. That's another sleeping. Because see, now are these people in the Sun Belt? All these people are Sun Belt teams, right?
Sun Belt. Mm-hmm.
Man, let me tell you something. That Sun Belt's coming up, man. They've whooped them some Power 5 behind this year. Y'all you have to watch that Power 5. I mean that Sun Belt.
The Conference USA is going to be up there. It's going to be real strong too when it comes down to it. As far as when you get these other schools coming in. No, UTSA is in Conference USA.
Okay, didn't you say that UAB is going to the AAC?
They should be going to the AAC because
let me tell you something. They're gonna be a power. Listen, I'm gonna go on the limb with this. I think Trent Difford's gonna do very well at UAB. I think he's gonna do well because he's gonna bring them NFL people in there. All he's got to do is recruit, and then everybody know he's a quarterback guru.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna do well. I think eventually, if he wins at UAB 3 straight years, the Power 5's coming after him. But see, and blue, that's why I wanted Blue was on here tonight. See, we was talking today about that ACC. The ACC don't have no big time coaches. That's what's wrong with that ACC. That's why ESPN is mad with the ACC because they gave them the network, gave them all that money, and their football is trash. The guy that's going to Auburn, Hugh Freeze beat up on everybody in the ACC except Clemson when he was at Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you who else used to beat up on him? Appalachian State. So listen, I'm telling you now, they need some good. Trent Dilfer really should have got a job in the ACC. They need some named coaches in that ACC. Let me tell you something. This guy was at Texas. He's at University of North Carolina. What's that man's name?
Mac Brown.
Mac Brown, almost 80 years old, and he probably the second or third best coach in the ACC. That man about 80 years old.
Yep.
They don't have a coach. Listen,
it's gonna be time for Mac Brown to call it a day though, because
listen, Virginia Tech is trash. Virginia's trash.
Mm-hmm.
Boston College is trash.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Syracuse came back. Georgia Tech is trash.
Yep.
Really, Miami is mediocre.
Yep.
Yeah, they need some coaches in that ACC, man. They need some named coaches.
Hey Brian, you look at this. It said Blue said that the Texas State Jackson State game for next year is going to be very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, that's going to be a big game.
Yeah, that's but that's huge. You know what I mean? This
that's going to be a big game.
Mr. Ford, I'm going to reiterate what I said before. Prime is building. He's building. Yeah, he said he'll entertain offers 100%. He's supposed to.
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Nobody says you always got to listen, because if you don't listen, you're never gonna be heard, and you're never gonna be offered.
Right.
The bottom line. But
let's see.
Prime's going to a Power 5 eventually. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think once he gets them out of there, he'll get the SEC off. If he continue, I'll give him 2 more good winning years. He'll get the SEC off, because they want him out of Jackson. They want him out of the HBCU. Because I keep telling everybody, these people. What's happening in the SWAC now is we're getting Power 5 talent, but the biggest problem is we don't have Power 5 coaching. That's our biggest problem. We don't have Power 5
money, and we ain't got Power 5 facilities, though.
Right, there you go. But the main thing, we don't have Power 5 coach, because I keep telling everybody, Alabama State, that guy, listen, I'm an old man, and I can coach better than that. I can call plays better than that. That's ridiculous.
So Blue said they're trying to get Lindsey Scott a 7th year so he can transfer to Texas State with him.
Ooh, he'll turn it out. He'll turn that out.
You talking about Lindsey Scott,
Man.
thrown 50 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions.
Oh, he'll turn that out. He'll turn that Sunbelt out.
He leads the whole that UIW squad is like top 5 in offensive in almost every offensive category.
Yeah. Well, hey, and tell Blue, because Blue and I had talked about that Georgia Tech job. What they're saying in Atlanta is they got to pay Jeff Collins $11 million. That's why they decided to give it to his homeboy, the interim coach, because they don't want the alums at Georgia Tech. They don't want to spend their money on football. They want to spend their money on engineering buildings. That's what I heard. And so they owe Jeff Collins $11 million. They got this guy on the cheap. This Coach Key, they got him on the cheap.
He said that's a joke. Boy, come on now. Don't tell me that's a joke. It's Blue. It don't matter. Just the thought of having Lindsey Scott at Texas State in San Marcos is something else. But I would say this, y'all. When it comes down to it, right now, Prime is still at Jackson State. He's still the head coach of the Jackson State Tigers. He got one game going right now to think about. That's SWAC championship game. And then we win. We got the Celebration Bowl.
Right.
Oh, Blue said Blue saying the fact that Georgia Tech didn't go after Chadwell, it made him sick in the stomach. Yeah,
it was about the money. They said it was about the money. When they went to the alums, the city was for it, but like I said, the alums, the power alums at Georgia Tech, they rather build engineering buildings rather than put money in football. And so they said that by giving giving Coach Key that job, they could get him on the cheap.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
Now he's also saying that word on the street, Liberty is about to grab him to replace Hugh Freeze.
Who they gonna get?
Jamie Chadwell.
Oh, he'll be good. He'll be good. Listen, I had you've been up to Myrtle Beach, right? Because that's a beautiful place, man.
I've been to Myrtle.
Yeah, I went up to Myrtle and they had he had 500 kids there for his camp.
Ooh.
He had 500 kids for his camp. I mean, listen, man, that guy's good, man. Jamie Chadwell, that guy's good. Personally, that's who I thought Georgia Tech should have hired. But like I told you, they saying that they owe this guy Jeff Collins $11 million, so they had to give it to that guy because they on the hook for $11 million right now for somebody that's going to not be working.
My guy HBCU Band Talk asked you a question, Mr. Ford. He said, "Who do you feel will be a good fit at Bethune-Cookman?"
Okay, Willie Taggart would be one. The man up at Benedict College. What's his name? Chennis Berry. You got to look at them first. They the first two. Now I know that they having some problems at Bethune, money wise, administration wise, but them are the first two they need to call. You got to call Willie Taggart. Okay, Willie's from Florida, can recruit Florida, can bring all kind of kids into Daytona. Okay, what's the name is the hottest coach in Division II right now on the black side. This Chennis Berry. You got to call them.
Yeah, you talking about Chennis Berry took a 5-5 Benedict team and turned them into an 11-1 squad.
That's what I'm saying. You got to go after him. That's the guy they're looking at. Somebody said it right there. HBCU Band Talk. It's Raymond Woody. That's who I think he graduated from Bethune. A lot of people talking about him. He's on some Power 5 staff too.
But the whole thing about Bethune is you just have to block out the mess with the administration. With them having been on that third interim president, and the fact that they also slashed the budget for athletics.
Yes, they did. That's why Reggie Theus is coaching basketball and the AD.
And in the sense, I feel like he might have to. He got to pick a side.
Yeah, that's what I said too.
Joey Jackson asked about what about Broderick Fobbs?
Listen, I can see. What about Broderick up at Pine Bluff? You think they'd be interested?
I haven't heard his name.
I haven't either.
I haven't heard his name. I might hear about another name, Coach Cedric Thornton.
Yeah, now tell me his background. I know that name, Cedric Thornton.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the one at Grambling.
Yep, used to be
the defense coordinator. Yeah, that was the plus for Grambling this year was the defense. I had no problem with the defense.
Yeah,
and my biggest problem with Grambling as a graduate was that during the coordination of the quarterback situation, and that to me that was on Coach Hugh Jackson and Simon them.
Yeah, that Grambling situation, the quarterback situation, Mr. Ford. I totally agree. That was pathetic. That was utterly pathetic. You know what I mean? You're not showing your team. You know, if you're going to choose a guy, you stick with the guy until you know what he loses his job per se.
Yeah.
But you can't change him like you know what I mean. You're changing underwear.
Hey, listen, Blue Blood said I still want. We can't get Jerry Mack, man. Jerry Mack and them fixed. They getting ready to get a raise. Jerry's at 500,000 base. We can't get Jerry. No, Jerry, and they love Jerry up in Tennessee. Man, listen, they just will to. I think the last 2-3 games, Tennessee is back. Tennessee is. I'm telling you, Tennessee. See, here's the thing about the state of Tennessee. Tennessee doesn't have that many people. They have to recruit Mississippi. They have to recruit Alabama, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina. That's where their boys have to come from. Mm-hmm. Even with Tennessee State, the majority of their boys, their football boys, they got to come from out of state. I'm telling y'all now, Tennessee is back as a SEC power. I'm telling you now, but we can't get Jerry Mack. Jerry making too much money. We can't get Jerry.
Another, like I said, with Cedric Thornton, his wife is the head basketball coach at UNPB. Right.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't see them trying to go after him because the simple fact, like, look, it's kind of hard. I mean, I ain't say it's kind of hard, but to drive 2.5 hours, you know, you want to go see your wife and everything. Look, I go interview for that job.
Yeah. Now, see, here's the thing with this is another problem we got in the SWAC. We do too much retread coaching. And what I mean by that, you know, like when you buy your car and you're cheap and you want to keep them retreads on there and every 2 and 3 months your tire bursts. See, that's what we're doing this way. We got to go out and get new ideas. See, it was great for Dion to come into the SWAC. You see what he's done. Okay. That's what we got. We can't do all this retread stuff. Like I keep, and I'm going to say this again. The biggest problem in the SWAC is this. We have Power 5 talent coming in, but we don't have Power 5 coaching.
Right.
We got to go get quality championship coaches.
Another person asked, he said, where is Henry Frazier? Henry Frazier is the head coach of Virginia State.
Virginia State.
Virginia State?
Yeah, he's Virginia Union. No. A guy with a PhD is at Virginia Union because the AD is the guy who used to be at.
He'll come back on. I gotta get him.
I just heard the guy that used to be is gone.
Henry Frazier is at Virginia Union, so he's the one that coaching. He has who's going to be the Harlan Hill winner this year, and Jada Byers, the running back. Amani Harris. How can the HBCUs afford that type of coaching? I don't know. Crowdfunding. Like we so used to getting most of our, you know, paying people with our I would say like donating, like we donate and everything, but some people, you know, people are privy to donate because they want to know where their money going.
the thing is also, and I think we spoke about this way back when, they have to, in my opinion, be creative for more revenue streams. And you know what? It's almost like they got to form collectives to afford the level of coaching. They have collectives, and you know, Diddy said they was going to give $1 million to Jackson State football team. I don't know if they received it or not, or I don't know if you heard anything about that. But
I haven't heard anything about that since he asked about it. He said that. That's why I'm skeptical because when he said that I think he was Diddy was drunk when he said that.
Well, you know what? Two things when you're drunk. Yeah, you say what you really want to say, or you know what, you shouldn't say it at all. But the thing is, you know, they have to, like, for instance, like, you know, I'm talking, you know, I always like talking about JSU.
Yeah.
The money that has been brought in there, the revenue stream that has been brought in there, like 2 games, almost $30 million.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wonder if the government working in conjunction with the government levy some kind of entertainment tax that can be directed back towards the university.
Well, when it comes to stuff like that, like that's how most stadiums get funded.
Right.
Amani Harris, first of all, he had Mr. Ford. He asked, do you know Mr. Hop from Grambling?
What's his name?
He asked about Mr. Hop.
Mr. Hop. It doesn't ring a bell right now. What department? Where is he?
What department he's in? Amani. What's going on, Michael? Man, what's going on? Welcome to the show.
Hey, brothers. Y'all brothers hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Okay, glad to be with y'all brothers.
All right.
Good stuff, brother, and we need to hear this. All we up Philly on the East Coast, we need to hear this so we can bring more people to the HBCUs. So I'm glad y'all talking this kind of language.
Okay. Yeah. You got a earpiece or anything like that? Just you don't have to speak up, but I think I can hear you from.
Yeah, I can hear him. I can hear him good.
Well, I want to ask him a question. Where would you like for Jackson State to come? Do you want him to come to the Meadowland, Philly, or DC? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you well.
Yeah. Where would you like Jackson State to come?
I like for them to stay at Jackson State.
No, I'm saying. I'm saying, where would you want? We want Jackson State to come to the East Coast.
It's not coming to the East Coast, right? It's about bringing the East Coast to Jackson State, based on the revenue you want to come to the school.
Oh yeah. So you would rather for because I was thinking that Shedeur and the team should be showcased on the East Coast. Like back in the day, Coach Eddie Robinson at Grambling, he would take Grambling to Yankee Stadium or to the Meadowlands every year. That's why I was asking, if you had a choice, where would you bring Jackson State's football team?
I leave them at Jackson State. Now you figure, this is the point Dion making. If I got to bring the band and everyone across state, across the country, and travel, hotels, planes, meals, that's about 300,000.
Yeah, but here's a point that I would make to you. If you have a classic, and see, this is where negotiation is very important. So if you have a classic, say I'm going to use Giant Stadium, right? Use Giant Stadium. So you have a classic. So whoever puts up the money, that money will include the travel expenses for both teams or whatever teams are going to be at that event.
Correct.
And another thing that would happen is, so you got about 60,000 people that would go. You get a lot of people from Jersey. We get a lot of people in Penn State, a lot of people from New York, upstate New York, and surrounding, even from Canada. You would get people to go because you know what? Jackson State right now is the hottest college football team in America. In the world, actually.
You hope that happens, right?
You hear more about Jackson State than you do about Alabama.
Right. You hope that'll happen. And you're right. You have to do negotiation. That's why Dion been successful. He's the only one done it that way. But this is the problem. They just had an HBCU game at the Meadowland. Did you see that?
Yeah, that
but
was
it wasn't
Morehouse
Jackson
and
State, though.
Howard.
Morehouse
That was
It was
Morehouse and
Jackson
Howard.
and Howard.
So it wasn't, but it wasn't sold out. So
No,
my
it was
question to you,
35,000. It was 35,000.
so my question to you, right, 35,000 and a 70,000 something seat.
Yeah,
So
right.
my question to you, who would Jackson State to draw that kind of crowd? That's why I wouldn't have it there, because the football country is in the South. Let's be clear. New York is a basketball city.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
So now, while you playing at Jackson State, the people come to Jackson State when you have 60,000, right?
Mhm.
Now we can take it to Atlanta where they got 70-something thousand in the dome. But at
Right.
least Jackson State will control the revenue streams, and all the money will come in. So now you can travel from bus to Atlanta instead of catching these planes. You bring a lot of cargo with you. So we want to control the revenue stream. We want to change the dynamic of moving forward. The blueprint that Coach Dion doing is a good blueprint. The problem is we need something that's going to be sustainable and longevity to control and retain the black dollar. And the only way you could do that, you have to build a facility, the economic infrastructure to control the black dollar and to move Jackson State and HBCUs forward. And that's why my organization is calling and working on an African Diaspora Economic Summit and HBCUs to be included.
Okay. I remember you was talking about that the other day.
Right. We working on that, brother. And I want to see a link real soon or something we did yesterday. But
So
you have to have that so the dollar can trickle up. In economics, the dollar supposed to trickle down. It doesn't work that way with the black community. It has to trickle up. So we understand where the power at. The power is in the South when it comes to football. There's nothing like it. So we need to be drawn to the power and become part of that movement in the South. And then we can uplift the rest of HBCUs. Now, if you was bringing basketball to the North, that's a different subject. But football's in the South. I lived there for 6 years in Texas, and I never experienced nothing like it.
Oh, I
Never-
agree.
I live here. I'm born and raised here in Texas.
Yeah.
Look, look. Football in Texas is king. It's religion. It is the end all be all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, bro. I've seen 30,000. My first year at Lamar University, I didn't know where they was going. I thought they was going to the university game. I never seen 30,000 go to a middle school game in my life. I said, where are they going, to the college game? It's like, the middle school. What middle school? What middle school?
When it comes to Texas and football, Texas is in a whole stratosphere by itself.
Yes, sir.
And when I'm talking about, look, Kyler Murray, his 3-year run when he played at Allen High School. Of course, he never lost a game. First of all, second of all, when they went to the state finals, they played in the state championship. You're talking about a attendance average like a college football game. 53, 54, 55,000 people in the stands for a high school game.
That's right.
And then not let alone you got schools like I went to Cedar Hill. And Cedar Hill, when we played Katy, the 3 years we played Katy, 2012, 2013, 2014. The attendance for that championship game was like 56, 57,000 in the stadium.
That's right.
Brian, Mr. Ford, they had to open up the third level at AT&T Stadium to accommodate all the people that was coming in. And plus, you got people that was there for the following game, which, like I said, was Allen and some other teams to watch that game. And so you're looking at attendance like that, 56, 57,000 in attendance for a high school game here in Texas. It's like no other. And that's the reason why now you got
That's the reason why you have FCS. The championship game is here in Frisco.
Right.
The D2 national championship game is in McKinney at a high school stadium.
Are they part of the new? You remember a few years ago they was building about 20 stadiums, and it started a high school stadium war in Texas.
Yeah,
I
remember that.
Are that the schools they playing at? The real big stadiums.
So, like, when it comes to it, when the FCS championship game is played at Toyota Stadium, which is a soccer stadium,
Right.
but Frisco ISD has rights to the stadium to play their football games there. They also have rights to the stadium to play their football games at the Star, which is the headquarters for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the D2 National Championship game is played at McKinney ISD Stadium. It is a newer stadium that was built like 4 years ago.
That's right.
The aesthetics of the stadium is compared to no other. You're talking about like a 12,000 to 14,000 seat stadium, and it looks like it belongs to a college.
That's right.
High school teams play there.
Doc, let me ask you this question: How good can this D Davis be at Alabama State? You've seen him, right?
Yes.
How good can this kid be?
If he had the right offensive coordinator,
right,
he could be electric.
Can he be drafted from Alabama State?
I don't think he'll be drafted. He could probably be an
undrafted
free agent.
He's more suited for the Canadian Football League.
Okay, all right.
Or he could go to the XFL or USFL.
We haven't seen what they're, what they're looking like. Obviously, the XFL because they'll be new in the spring. But I look at him like, he looks like a quarterback that can run and it can throw, and that he would be more suited for the game up here in Canada.
Well, let me ask you something. Who would you think could go down to Alabama State and straighten this game out? I mean, as far as an offense coordinator.
As far as an offensive coordinator?
Yeah, because we know this guy Harry Williams ain't gonna do nothing. Who could come down? Blue, put it in the who could go and straighten him out at Alabama State, Blue?
Kansas City Chiefs.
You said what?
Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator.
No, he got to go to Colorado.
Yeah, he got to go to Colorado.
He got to go P5. He got to go up. He's been looking for a head coach job for the last 6-7 years. He ain't trying to go back down. He's trying to go up.
So who you got any thoughts in your mind as to who could go down there? What about Damon Craig? Is he still at Texas A&M?
Damian Craig?
Yeah, where is he?
Let me see. I ain't heard that name in so long either, man.
He was an Auburn graduate. Didn't he go to Auburn? He was from Mobile or somewhere?
He went to Auburn.
Yeah, I'm saying, is he still with Jimbo Fisher?
Let me see.
Okay.
Yep, he's the quarterback coach at Texas A&M.
So we can't get him. Because we need somebody to go down to Alabama.
Cadillac Williams will be free soon.
Well, Cadillac just got a new job at Auburn. He's the associate head coach.
The people was upset about that loss on Saturday.
Yeah, but he just got a new coach. He's the associate head coach at Auburn. Isn't that right, Blue? Isn't he the associate assistant?
He's right. You're right. He's an associate head coach at Auburn.
Auburn now. Yeah, he got a promotion.
Yeah, Hugh Freeze mess up again. That's Cadillac's job right there.
I'm gonna tell you something. Hugh Freeze ain't getting ready to mess up. Hugh Freeze gonna do well at Auburn, man. He gonna do well.
Black coach.
No, I don't think so either. But Hugh Freeze is gonna do well at Auburn. Hugh Freeze is gonna be a thorn in the side of all them people in that SEC West, because he can coach, man. I saw him at Ole Miss. I saw him at Arkansas State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Hugh Freeze is gonna do some. I'm telling y'all, Hugh Freeze beat up them ACC schools at Liberty.
I got a question. Since you're talking about the Power 5 schools, I'd like to ask you brothers a question.
What's that?
The emphasis on the MEAC and the SWAC becoming one power conference. and to put a contract together around putting an economic infrastructure that will bring level coaches and TV deals in the right manner to HBCU football. What you think about that?
It ain't happening because that laid up there misunderstood, and the administrative arm of the MEAC is backwards, petty, no ideas, not going to go forward. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because them people up there at that Miss Sonja Steele is a disciple of Dr. Dennis Thomas. Dennis Thomas is the one that destroyed the MEAC. He's the reason why the MEAC only has 6 teams. Wow. And she was trained by him. Instead of them going out and getting some new ideas, they go and get a person that sit right up under Dennis Thomas, and they didn't do nothing. So it ain't going to happen. It sounds good. It sounds good, but I'm telling you, it ain't going to happen.
Hey, Michael, the people ask if you can't hear, just turn your camera off.
Hey, Mr. Campbell, how you doing?
Oh, yeah. Yep, Mr. Campbell in the chat.
And Mr. Campbell, they robbed Isaiah Major. They robbed him. He should have been first team.
But the thing is, too, is before any contingency to combine the SWAC and the MEAC, you have to have a good television contract.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I agree. I agree.
If you don't have that,
but here's the thing, though.
There's no starting point. And you got to get rid of the old heads that think
right.
how they did 30, 40 years ago. You
right.
You got to be more progressive.
You're 1,000% correct.
See, the only reason North Carolina A&T left the MEAC is because they wanted Dennis Thomas fired, and they couldn't get him fired. So Hilton recommended to the president that they leave. That's why they left. They left because they couldn't get Dennis Thomas out the way. That's the only reason they left.
I'm gonna see if Mr. Campbell. Mr. Campbell, come in on the chat. Come in on the stream, Mr. Campbell.
Want me to go back out?
No. As a matter of fact, I gotta leave the chat because I gotta get up early in the morning. Thank you, gentlemen, and you have a great night. And let's keep everything going well. And hit and subscribe as people are leaving, and stay on because this is a great conversation.
Uh-oh. What's going on?
I'm in one of the screens.
I'm trying to figure out what. Can y'all see me?
I can see you.
Okay. Something's up with my laptop. But yeah, it missed but yeah, when it comes down to the SWAC and the MEAC trying to merge together, it's not gonna happen. And plus, Dr. McClellan already said that he don't want it to happen. He already said that the conference is gonna be in good hands.
But Dr. McClellan, he only can say that because Dion there. And the revenue, if you look at this year revenue, the revenue only risen because of Dion being there. So Dr. Relevant, he can say that, Dr. McKellar can say that, but he's not really driving the car. Because if he was driving the car, Dion would have to sell out the other school, his opponent's schools. Dr. McKellar would have sold the schools out. So while Dion there is a blessing, because different streams of income is coming in and different resources coming in because of Coach Sanders. Now Dr. McKellar, he's in a position, but he doesn't have the know-how. And for him to say he wouldn't let no MEAC or let no other schools in, you only can build up your structure with the other schools to be able to control and to create a major TV contract. So and that's when you're creating a driven market. So unless the other schools become competitive, that's the only way you can drive the market. So if JSU is the only must-see TV, then they don't want to watch them because they already can predict what's going to happen. So you got to create and build up the other schools to become parity and competitive to help drive the HBCU football market.
And that's the way you do that is get in quality coaching. You got to get in quality coaching. That's what we lacking. Blue Blood. I saw Vincent Brown when he was in high school. I know he's at William and Mary. Is he still at William and Mary? He was with Mike London. Where is he now? I saw him when he was in high school. He played for a guy they called the Gunslinger. What's Jerry Rice's college coach name?
Archie Gunslinger. Cool.
Archie Gunslinger is Vincent Brown's college coach. That was his head coach at Mississippi Valley. I saw Vincent when he was in high school. He played for Bill Parcells for many years in the NFL. I think in New England. Oh, he'd be great. He's a good guy too. Good man. He played with Jerry Rice. He played with Carl Bynum. Played with Joe Thomas. Played with the quarterback Totten. He played with all of them.
Yeah. He said, man. All right. Let me see what's up with my screen.
It's the story about Vincent Brown when Cooley came up. He took about 18 players from one school back to Mississippi Valley.
Coming in the stream. All right, my thing is lagging right now, so y'all just excuse me. Yes, sir. What's going on, everybody?
What's going on? What's going on?
All right. What do y'all think? What y'all think we need to do as far as coming up with some sort of collective as far as trying to pay the coaches? Because I think that's the only thing that he's worried about. He's not worried about himself. I think he's worried about his assistants. He wants his assistants to be comfortable. They don't have to worry about doing this, that, and the third, try to get more money to come to him. He just worried about his assistants. What do y'all think we need to do as a collective to try to get that rectified?
And your brothers ever played at Division I school? Have you ever played at Division I school? Anybody?
I didn't play. I was actually in the band at
Right.
Jackson.
Well, at Division I schools, I went to Lamar. I got hurt when I got there. I had an operation. At Division I schools, your alumni and boosters, your business sector, create the infrastructures for your coaches and for your assistant coaches. HBCUs doesn't have that infrastructure. They are monologue by the old tradition, which are slave dollars. So to be able to bring in the coaches like Dion Sanders or Ed Reed and Ray Lewis, we need to build an infrastructure, not just for economics, but for the facility. That's what have to be put in place, because there's no way to retain or contain the black dollar. There's no way.
You absolutely correct on that. But I'm gonna say this now, and everybody knows this. Black HBCU schools have been mismanaged, and them athletic departments have definitely been mismanaged. That's nothing new. But you're right. See, here's the thing I don't like about my school, about HBCUs. When the football team makes that money, instead of that money going into an athletic foundation, they give the money to the president and to the administration, and he gives them chump change to go out. Like, give you an example. One of the things I can't stand about the SWAC, they're telling me that every time a SWAC football game occurs, the home team has to get a conference office 40% of the money. That don't make no sense. Why should Mississippi Valley send 40% of their money to the conference office when they need every penny they can get? You shouldn't be sending no more than 25% of that money. And see, that's like you said about the HBCU, the money, we got a financial problem. We got a financial problem because it don't make no sense for Mississippi Valley to be struggling like they struggling, and then they get a good crowd and 40% of the money got to go to the conference office. That don't make no sense.
It's not supposed to. The conference could pay, the teams could pay the conference office, but they can't demand that. They can't demand 40%.
They shouldn't be getting 40%. I can see 25.
I can see all the way down to, I can see 10 to 12%.
Yeah,
for operating costs.
It is written in the bylaws.
And as far as the Dion paying Coach Prime, what about what Neely was saying on game day as far as getting the surrounding businesses in the area to put together, like, you know what I mean, put that money together?
They got to be structured. You want to structure that. Neely's correct, but the key is you got to structure it so you can contain and control it. You understand what I'm saying? Now look, he brought in $35 million his second year, right? This year he brought in $35 million the last 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah.
Now look what the hospitality and the restaurant and the other counties did besides Jackson. All the hotels sold out, right? So none of the money came back towards HBCU or Jackson State.
Yeah.
That money need to be structured, not just on a tax dollar, but a community benefit agreement. Then on a coaches agreement.
Do y'all also feel like that it's a plot? I understand that it's a plot by, you know, a lot of the white folk to get Dion up out of from around there as far as
that's
like
the power structure. The power structure wants him out. They want him out of Mississippi. But I want to go back to what you said. I want to go back to what he said about the business. Now, let me give you an example. About 2 to 3 years ago, that school, Coastal Carolina, went undefeated until the last game. I think they lost to Liberty. Well, some Power Fives came after Jamie Chadwell. All of the businesses on Myrtle Beach got together, put together $1 million pot, and gave it to Jamie and told him they would do that for him as long as he stayed there. So you're absolutely right about that. Those businesses in Jackson, Mississippi, they owe Jackson State and Dion a bag. And them assistant coaches, they owe them a bag.
So the thing is, with my organization, I'm calling to have an economic summit we're working on to discuss how the HBCU should be economic structured. That way, you can bring in a big-time coach, and then you can pay his assistant coaches accordingly. Now, the SWAC conference is supposed to be separate from the school. They're not supposed to get, like you said, 40%.
40%.
They're supposed to get anywhere from 10 to 12%. So they hijacking the school.
Right.
You know, they shaking the school down. Now, why? Because if you look what the SEC schools get, the SEC schools from the TV contract, each school gets $65 million.
Right.
The HBCUs get anywhere from 62 to 65,000.
Right.
And if they get the 65,000 at the end, now why? Because the school get a breakdown. Like you said, the school wasn't supposed to get a breakdown. Let's go back to Ohio State. You remember about 10 years ago when Maurice Collette was there? Ohio State, from the football program, they rebuilt a whole campus over, the entire campus. So then the president say, okay, then, since you built the whole sports facility and the campus over, give me 20% to go towards education. And they done that. And that's how it's supposed to be done.
I have a question. So where are you getting those numbers from as far as the SWAC schools only getting 65,000?
It just came out 2 days ago. All this stuff is public record that they published.
Yeah, well, I don't know how you get 65,000 from 9 million.
No, what I said was Power 5 schools, SEC schools got 65 million.
No, I'm saying that from the press conference, Dr. McClellan said that 9 million was being distributed, to the 12 schools.
Yeah, he did
say that.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure how you get 65,000 out of 9 million.
Look at the public record. He's going to distribute this money this year. Go look at the record. You'll see.
I'm gonna say something like this. My wife gave me. I'm gonna say like this. My wife gave me some tidbit in my email, not my email, but she texted me, and she was like, it was said that SWAC championship game this weekend is supposed to garner at least $6 million.
For Jackson or for who?
For Jackson.
For Jackson, okay. Because the home team keeps all the money, right?
Right.
Okay.
But I'm thinking this might be more because this is even though it's the SWAC championship game, it's a real big game because it's Jackson State Southern.
Right.
So I'm looking at more like a $12 million boost starting.
Well, the actual school is probably going to be, making maybe the $6 million from the the money they're getting from the ticket sales and whatnot, but the overall community will be getting more, of course, because the hotels, the gas stations, the restaurants, all of that. And that's the community.
You got to count the tailgating too. The tailgating tickets were sold out.
Right.
Oh yeah, tailgate tickets gonna be sold out regardless. They always
Yeah.
sell out.
And then they just dropped them new Shador Under Armour jerseys. Wouldn't the school get a part of that?
Not necessarily.
It wouldn't get it right.
School would get a part of that.
They got
But
Jackson
that's
State
his
on there,
NIL,
though.
man. That's his NIL, right?
This is NIL deal.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
got nothing to
it
do.
ain't got no Jackson State logo or nothing like that on there.
I don't think
It says
so.
Jackson State on the front. It
Yeah.
says Jackson State on the front, but
Well,
It'll
if
be
they
a
get
licensing deal
that's
with the school. It'll be a licensing deal with the school, but that money would be, not necessarily attached, other than what Under Armour or whoever paid the school for the logo.
Listen,
Right.
listen, Mr. Ford. Let me say this before I go. Somebody keep asking my thoughts on the commissioner and commissioner's interview. Let me tell you something. I've been keeping up with the SWAC many years. I think this guy's probably the best SWAC commissioner we've ever had. I'm gonna be honest with you. I like Dr. McClellan. I like what he's talking about, but I just know that we can get better. Anything you in, you can get better. And right now, last year, my bandwagon was the officiating was pathetic. And we couldn't look that incompetent on national TV. My thing this year, we got to go get some quality championship coaches, offensive coordinators, position coaches. That's what we got to do. Listen,
That's right,
Doc,
Mr.
thank you
Ford.
for having
That's
me.
right.
I got to go to school tomorrow. So y'all have a good night, okay?
yeah, I gotta get up early in the morning too because I gotta
All right.
work.
Y'all have a good night.
But anyway, man,
Good night, Mr. Ford.
thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Ford. But
All right.
All right, Mr. Ford.
but yeah, I'm like this. When it comes down to it, there got to be some solution for the economic part to try to keep Coach Prime at the school, because that's the main thing that you're looking at. You're looking at trying to keep Dion at Jackson State until, like I said, until he says that he is no longer the head coach of Jackson State University, or B, he is sitting at the school, or overall, he is still the head coach of the Jackson State football Tigers team.
I agree. But I agree. I think it go deeper in that. And the reason I say it go deeper in that,
Nowhere.
you remember TSU? Alabama was it Alabama A&M or Alabama State? They didn't have sellouts. Coach Fromm took the initiative and reached out to their fan base and his fan base to give those schools a sellout. So when you're talking about his presence is not just at JSU. His presence in the SWAC and against his opponents, he's bringing out their crowd for them because they're not even having sellouts. And I think it was Alabama State U. That was the first sellout in the history of Alabama State U.
Yep.
So it goes deeper. This model you draw in this economic infrastructure you have to put in place, it goes deeper than just the city of Jackson and Jackson State.
Now,
it's what he brings to the conference.
Now, I got something to counteract that. Why does it have to be Dion to say y'all need to come sell out an opponent's stadium? Where
that is an issue, man.
Where you need to be, as the whole school, you need to go out to your student body, to your alumni, to everybody that's in your neighborhood, in your, you know what I'm saying, in your realm, and say, hey, y'all need to come out here and pack this stadium out because we have a good product out here on, you know what I'm saying, that these boys out here are playing hard. We have a good.
And you know what, Doc? That's the issue, Doc. They don't the black community in a lot of these HBCU areas is not looking at the football as you know what I'm saying, as good product. They look at it, they like, you know, lower level, lower tier. They don't want to fool with it. That's why that's why they not going. Them games was like them the Power 5 or the PWIs. then they'll be at them games for them prices, for them HBCU
Absolutely.
prices.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? The only reason why they ain't
100%
at all them PWI games is because the prices is too high, and the white folk don't want you in there no how. You know what I mean?
And Doc, don't forget, Doc. You're right. You correct. Don't forget, Doc. It's not the message. It's the messenger.
Right.
That's true. It's the person who's telling you to come out.
It's who can bring the message. So,
and then you know what? That's why I don't think Prime going nowhere. I don't think he's leaving. Yeah. I think Prime, to be honest, I think a lot of this is just, more attention to the SWAC, more attention to Dion. I don't think he's leaving.
The powers of B is pushing this narrative, not Dion. The powers of B,
and he going with it.
Right.
He playing the game right with it. Why get mad? He playing the game right with it.
Now, I feel
because you're bringing notoriety to him, and you're bringing notoriety to Jackson State.
Facts.
So you bring in free publicity. Sometimes any publicity is good publicity.
Right.
So it's not Coach Prime.
He didn't build too much to leave. Look at all he did. Like everybody said, he got all the power. He got all. Why would he just drop that like that, man? His son just dropped the jersey. You think they going? Why would he leave and his son just dropped the jersey, man?
Because
come on, man. People gotta think about that. You think he gonna leave Shiloh behind? Shiloh can't transfer again. He not gonna leave Shiloh behind back and leave him there. So, come on, man. His daughter, his son. He not, man. Prime is not. He's not going nowhere in 2023. Prime is gonna be the coach at Jackson State next year. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, he's not leaving until them kids is really up out of there.
So quick question.
Prime is up to something. He up to something, and everybody fooled and everybody following that nigga got caught on his hook. Prime is up to something. He's finna fool and upset a lot of people.
He's not going nowhere. He already said he's not going nowhere. Yesterday.
He's not going nowhere, man. That man not going nowhere. And he know what he means to the black community. He know what he means to HBCU football and to the SWAC and Jackson State. He know what he means, what his presence is over there within the SWAC and down in the South, man. Why would he be recruiting and having all these kids at his schoolhouse and he just up and leave? You don't think he having conversations with these kids? They just said the Guthrie kid finna be at the Jackson State game. So, why would he? Come on, man. That just don't make sense, man.
He already said. In fact, I talk to the sides. I talk to the sides all the time, though. But he already told me that he was gonna go to the game.
Come on, man.
Why? His homeboy is Savion Wilkinson is playing for Jackson State.
Right.
You don't think Savion is trying to
man. People just gotta think, man, and put that and quit just jumping on anything and just looking for the negative, and you gotta sit back and just look and read between the lines, man. Come on, man.
It ain't the people, bro. It's the white media. It's not the people. It's the white
exactly
media.
What it is. That
the
media.
The white media is keeping everybody in tune with their stations. With
Keyshawn Johnson and talking about, going to I want him to get the job and all that. When I see brothers on the TV saying that, man, that it just boils me hot. Like, how what? Okay, you went to a PWI, so you must not understand the impact, or you don't feel it. I didn't go to neither one, but I feel it, and I see it.
Most of the dudes that go to Division I PWI,
good job.
If you're not grounded in your roots, then you get the O.J. Simpson syndrome.
Thanks.
They take you away. If you're on campus with Keyshawn Johnson, right? You'll never see Keyshawn Johnson, but only on a football field. They isolate him from the community. He's isolated. He don't go to school events. He only go to football games, and then he go to the booster events. That's what PWI football is about. It's about money.
Hey, Doc. So, quick question for you.
So, I got my man. I got Unc up in here.
What if we looked at it from and I guess before Mr. Campbell comes up, what if we looked at it as a movement instead of a moment, right? So instead of looking at it from just a Coach Prime perspective at Jackson State, what if we looked at it from, what can we all do as a collective for all the HBCUs? Because I'm sure the folks on this stream right now aren't just supporters or fans of Jackson State, right? So I believe personally that we have the means, right, to make it a movement, and Prime perhaps is the catalyst, right, to show us that it's possible.
Mhm.
One thing
Can
I
I ask
Yeah.
you
look
a
at,
question? Can I
one
ask you a question?
well,
A
one second,
building has to have an infrastructure, doesn't it?
of course,
Yeah.
The HBCUs have to build an infrastructure. They have to build an economic infrastructure, and they have to rebuild over the facility infrastructure.
All right.
That's the
I'm gonna
only
get
way.
Mr. Campbell in here, man. He's a supporter of the show. Really good to me about certain things when it comes to the show stuff. Give me somewhat some life lessons. But what do you think, Mr. Campbell? I mean, I know you've been listening to the show since while you was driving, but I know you have get your perspective on what we talking about right here. And the first thing we was talking about earlier was the snubs, who should have been on the all conference for first team, second team. Me and Mr. Ford, we already said I kind of came through and said Nelson Jordan from Alabama State should have been first team defense on the defensive line, because I felt like, in a sense, Isaiah Land didn't have that type of impact like he did last season than what he had this season. I also said that Adrian Maddox should have been on the first or second team all SWAC team, or he could have been the freshman of the year between him and Kevin Coleman. So, and then my last one was the defensive player of the year. You're looking at Aubrey. Some people said Aubrey should not have got it over Bubba Adams. So you got three guys that was on the Alabama State defense that could have been first or second team all conference, and two could have been either a freshman of the year and the defensive player of the year. What do you think about that?
Okay, Doc, first of all, I'm proud of you. Love the show. Gentlemen, brothers, I love the conversation. I'm listening to it in the car, so I really love the perspective. Here's the thing. I think we fail to realize what the job of the SIDs are. You know why certain players got more votes than other players? Because they probably got better SIDs. Because their whole job is to be a publicist for the team. Yeah. So when you hear Kevin Coleman getting more votes and being a freshman a year, it's probably because Jackson State's SID is probably sending out more information to keep his name on the forefront. And they're like, yep, I know that name. I know that guy. I'll vote for that guy. Compared to Maddox, you think their SID doing as much work? See, a lot of this has to do with popularity when you look at these all-conference teams. And this goes all the way from Power 5 all the way down to the SWAC. So when I saw some of these names coming out, I knew exactly what had happened. Then again, also, you've got coaches that are more in tune. They watch games. They know the players. Yeah. Some of these coaches don't know players, especially if they're in the other side of the bracket. If you're a guy in the East and you didn't play Arkansas Pine Bluff, you don't know the kid. You don't know him. Mm-hmm. So this has a lot to do with, and that's why I want people to understand, the role of that SID is to take the players' information and to send out to the media, but also send out to the other SIDs. So when the conference votes come, because you can't vote for your players.
Right.
Remember that. So it wasn't like the Jackson State collective voted for Kevin Coleman. It was the other coaches that did. And that's probably because Jackson State and Norway Prime works and say, hey, I want that information going out every week with all these stats of my players. And again, it's name recognition. He got on name recognition. The kid is a great player. But to you guys' point, when you start looking at stats, and then again, the question is, how many of these coaches are looking at these stats, or they're looking at a name? They see Kevin Coleman running back a touchdown. I remember that play because I saw it actually on TV. How many games Arkansas Pine Bluff was on ESPN Plus? We all know every Jack State game was on TV. See, so these are the kind of the things that we kind of say. Now, I want to, the reason why I called in,
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into if Prime is going to leave, because I want people to understand about something about Dion. I have been around Dion Sanders. I went to Florida A&M. He was at Florida State. I knew his agent, Eugene Parker, was one of the best black agents in the United States. Matter of fact, Dion was one of the first top players to sign with a black agent. Dion has always been about business. So now let's take the personal out of it, because I agree with everybody what you're saying, the culture now this. The thing that Jackson State needs to do, and this is simple numbers, and I'm from Jackson. I donate to that school. My family graduated, first person from my family went to Jackson State in 1938. So we've been around Jackson State for almost 80 years. The biggest thing what Jackson State should have did, immediately when Dion got there, they should have called something like the J Diamond Club. And each one of those people, let's get 5,000 people, right? Which is not a lot of people, right? And get 5,000 people to give $1,000 a year. There go your $5 million right there. And then if you're part of this J Collective, this J Diamond Collective, you know, all they would have had to do is have some big gala in Jackson. You get a personal picture with Coach Prime, and he calls you on your birthday. That's $5 million with only 5,000 people. See, this is what I think we got to start learning what other Power 5 schools, because see, now you know what's happened.
Hold on,
like
hey, Michael, you gotta cover up because they're gonna ban me, bro. I don't want to get banned off of this thing. I'm trying to grow it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to get banned. Go ahead, Mr. Kemp.
So it's kind of like when you date that pretty girl for the first time. You got to act a little bit different. You got to treat it different. So now look at what we got. We finally saw a coach like Dion. But now we got to look at what Power 5s do. Power 5s do this all the time. And Mr. Ford talked about it. And it's the alumni. You can't go, because see, here's the problem. You cannot go to a business that does not have an affiliation, because most of these businesses, even though Jackson is a heavily black city, many black business owners, but half of these businesses are owned by white people. They are takers. They're not givers. Listen what I said. They are takers. They are not givers. And that's
why, and excuse me, cutting you off. And that's why I went to Lamar University in Beaumont, Texas, right? Division I, mid-level. The biggest school we played was Texas, University of Texas with Eric Metcalf in them. It was like night and day when we went to their school, right? Yeah, you have your alumni, but you also have your trustees and your boosters. Then you have your business circle, and then you have your businessmen. So what I'm saying is we was controlled by ExxonMobil, the oil giant. That's what took care of our school. But everybody else that was in that business circle brought in hundreds of millions of dollars. And like you said, JSU, Jackson is controlled by white businesses. And this is why it's important to have a community benefit agreement from the white businesses. Because if we supporting you in your hotels, your restaurants, your bars, then you got to reciprocate. Or we got to find another channel to go. Because there's no way we can keep getting you our dollar and you don't reciprocate through a community benefit agreement. And that's the problem HBCUs have. There's no way when you go to Atlanta, Morris Brown, Morehouse, and all them schools right next door to Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and they don't have a business community benefit agreement. There's no way that's supposed to happen. So it's about what we don't know, we don't know. So moving forward, this is why you have to have an economic infrastructure that, like someone said earlier, to create a movement instead of having a moment. This is the moment. But we're going to build longevity and sustainability, that we have to put in the infrastructure. And everything you're saying right, but it have to be layered. And the infrastructure have to be cooperative, collective, and collaborative. It have to be done in them steps. And I only know that by being a former Division I ball player. I've seen it because we hardly went to class, but we was always in a business meeting with some kind of booster. That's how I seen it firsthand.
What'd you say, Mr. Count?
Well, this goes back to my point. But see, you got to start with your warm circle, because every one of those boosters probably have some alumni tie and become a booster. See, because booster, and you don't have to be, to your point, you don't have to be an alumnus to be a booster. But trust me, most of those alums went, if you're not part of that, they went and recruited that person. Say, hey, Joe, you got the gas station down the street. Let us put a sign down there, buddy. You know, I'm class of 55 at Lamar. That's how they get started. And what I'm saying is, you got to have that first step. And the easiest first step that I'm telling you, I know 1,000 people from Jackson that got $1,000. So there go $1 million right there.
Right.
So what I'm talking about is the initial starting place, because so Colorado's going to give Prime $5 million, right? I've always wanted to know what the question would have been if Jackson State would have came up with $3 million. Then it becomes a little bit different, because now you're closing that money gap. Because here's the funny thing about it, this is I told Scott my conspiracy theory. If Prime got on there after the Celebration Bowl and said, you know what, guys, I'm coming back to Jack State. I believe this is a movement. The amount of sponsorship dollars that will flow into Jackson State would be ridiculous.
I agree.
Because you would have all these businesses. They have these George Floyd funds. They literally have funds for Black Lives Matter and all this stuff. They're not spending. But I tell you what, they're spending with Dion because they're all football fans. And you'll see, this is FedEx, and we believe in the HBCU mission and Coach Prime. We'll give them $1 million. So that's the thing about it. But you got to have that gap. And this is the thing that I think that Jackson State did. Wait, let me make this one last point. I'll be quiet. This is the thing that I think they weren't quick on the draw. When you saw this thing building, this is when you got to start calling your powerful alumni. Let's make sure we got our pool together, because again, 1,000 people at $1,000 is $1 million. You could have $1 million just sitting in the bank, ready to go, ready to have. So now I just wanted to put that out there.
I don't see Dion leaving for 5,000. $5 million. He wasn't going nowhere for $5 million. Now, if $10 million, then I can see him like, let me think about it. For $10 million, that's an appetizer, not $5 million. For $10 million, that would have been an appetizer for him.
And I think
about those coaches.
Well, you about who's next?
And I was like what you were saying, Mr. Campbell. You talking about the big money guys coming in and trying to keep them there for the movement. I would think that's what the CEO of Under Armour came down there to do. Wouldn't you think he's one of them guys, or the Amazon people that they working with down there shooting that movie and stuff like that?
That's different. That can help, because that'll bring in advertisement dollars. That's advertising and marketing dollars that they can bring in and help them. Sure. But when you're talking about the alumni and boosters, that's more personal. These are the guys that's going to make the financial stream. These are guys going to make sure your players are tight. These are guys going to make sure your assistant coaches are tight. Their homes, their cars, their pocket. These the money guys. So that's a total different thing. But you're correct. But all that does play a part.
Now, here's the thing I gotta say about this. Somebody put it on the chat. I'm trying to figure out who it was. They asked, why does Dion have Power 5 head coaches? Assistants, but he can't get them paid. And the thing about it is, and this is what Mrs. Ford said before he got off. Dion had connections from the NFL and from college. Dion, you look at it, okay. Like I said, we're gonna go down the line of all his assistant coaches, right? So I'm gonna first start with Coach Hart. What's good with what's the thing about Coach Hart? Coach Hart was the head coach at Trinity Christian when he was at the high school. Dion was the offensive coordinator. And before Coach Hart got the job with Trinity Christian, he was with him at Prime Prep. When Prime Prep was open, Prime Prep was open, he was with him at AAA Academy. Coach Hart been with Dion forever, pretty much. Coach Mathis played with him with the Dallas Cowboys. Taught him mostly everything about being a cover corner, about trying to be a shutdown corner. Okay, he brought him in. Kevin Mathis is still getting paid by the NFL. They get pensions. And it's not saying that they not wanting for anything, but they're still getting a pension. They're still getting money from the NFL. Alan Ricard, the same thing. He's getting, Baltimore. He was the fullback. He was on special teams. They both teammates at Baltimore. Coach Thurman basically shit. Coach Thurman was pretty much Dion's defensive coordinator when he was in Baltimore. He's the defensive coordinator for Rex Ryan with the Jets. So he got that connection right there. Then you got all the other coaches. Coach Weeks Coach Markinson, Coach Pollock, they all run in together. Coach Markinson came in from Houston Nut, where he was at Ole Miss. Coach Weeks, I think he got called in by Prime to just go coach the defensive line. He didn't know he was gonna be there for that long. And then the two remaining stalwarts from the previous regime, TC Taylor and Coach O. TC Taylor is by far the best receiver that we had in Jackson State history, behind Jimmy Smith. I'm gonna just put it just like that. But he knows TC is there because he loves his school, he loves those kids, and he want to see them kids do well when they get into the big time. How do you pay coaches like that? And that's when you come to coming up with some, like you said, some sort of collective. You got to come up with something. Some of these dudes is getting paid $60,000-$70,000 a year. It's not enough. I mean, it's not saying that they getting regular jobs, but but I would be, because if I'm Prime is a Hall of Famer, regardless of the fact he getting Hall of Fame money, he getting NFL pension, he got marketing money, he is not a dummy when it comes to his money, but he want to make sure that his guys get the bag too. We ain't talking about $1 million. We talking about at least $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 for each positional coach. You want him, you got to come up with something. And for the school to generate that type of money, especially this year, with the two games that was back to back, homecoming and the Boombox Classic that was back to back, to get almost $30 million. Something, you got to give us something. Well, what do you think about that, Mr. Campbell?
Well, this is it's simple. You hit it. It's about dollars and cents, and that's the problem. It's not. I don't think it's Dion's money. It's his assistant coaches, and it is hard to have an assistant coach, as you said, making 50, 60, 70, 80, $100,000 when you could immediately elevate to Colorado or South Florida and it's $500,000. See, and that's the thing that I understand. When this decision is going to be made, it's going to be because of the assistant coaches. And I can respect that, because listen to what you said, Doc. All of these people have been with him. Dion is a very loyal person. One of my good friends is Kevin Smith, that played for the Cowboys, 2-6. That's my boy. Been knowing him forever. Dude Park. That's another way I know Dion. Everybody has been around Dion. You ask any of them guys from Florida State, Dion has been one of the best friends, one of the best teammates that anybody's ever had. He is a good dude. He's always been like that. You're not going to find one person from Tallahassee to Fort Myers that's going to say a bad word about Dion. I'm telling you, you're not.
Nah.
And like I said, I've been around Dion since 1989. And it ain't been a cat that I ever said, oh, no, that dude's shady, bro. Y'all don't want to mess around there. Not one, bro. So when he looks and he sees these opportunities, so again, this goes back, see, we got to start empowering ourselves.
Yeah.
If we know how the game is played, then we got to play the game. Because see, the flip side of it, and this is why this is a challenge to Jackson State. Look at the money that this man is bringing you.
But this the first time, though, Mr. Campbell. That's real, Mr. Campbell, this is new to HBCU. This is new to all HBCU. This is new to the Black community. So this is not a given. This is new.
So and really, to me, it seems like they just want to sit back and let either Prime do all the work, or they just want somebody else to do it for them. It's like they sit back waiting. They want somebody to do it for them or something, man. Like Prime is showing them the direction to go and what to do. To be honest, it's been a whole year, and I still haven't seen any other HBCU put out the content or push HBCU or like their school like Jackson State is doing. I've been looking for them. I've been trying to keep up with Grambling and FAMU and even Alabama State or Alcorn, but they not pushing out the content. Their players have their own single channels here and there, but I don't see nothing from the schools actually pushing out the content if it's not nothing to do with some band. I don't even see no highlights of their games. If I can't watch their games, at least where's the highlights at?
Well, I think in order for you to see certain content, a lot of times you have to be looking for it. But I will say that with
Yeah, I'll be
what
looking
Mr.
for it.
said, as far as 1,000 people having $1,000, that's only $83 a month, or $19 a week, or $2.74 a day. So we have enough power in our community. The first thing is, if we stop calling them PWIs and start calling them HWCUs, we will start to put things in perspective, right? So I know that my ice is just as cold or colder than across the tracks, right?
But look at this.
So,
Look, you right for a stint, right? But check this out. Are you familiar with what took place last week in Tennessee or North Carolina, A&T?
They protested to where they wanted to get paid. The state had to pay them the money that was owed to them.
Right. So what's going on since the Colin Kaepernick and the George Floyd thing, HBCU school enrollment went up to 200%. Right. So when a school like Tennessee bring more money into the state had to allocate them more money. And now the state had to sit in here and to ask them, why are so many black people going to HBCU schools now? What is going on? So when they done that, they're going through the run mill to find out what's going on. Now in North Carolina, A&T, they got sued $2 million. They got not sued but fined. Because in North Carolina, you only can let in from out of state 35% of your student body.
Yeah.
North Carolina has 65% came in. They flattened it. So they got fined for that because you're not supposed to go past the 35% cap. So now, with that being said, the United States Supreme Court is arguing this Baki case with the Asian community. They're trying to wipe out affirmative action. If the Supreme Court strikes down that affirmative action education for colleges, HBCUs is going to be flooded up to 200%. HBCUs cannot handle the infrastructure, and they don't have the infrastructure. That's why it's important to build an economic infrastructure and a brand new facility infrastructure, because it's going to be an influx of students. Now, underneath the affirmative action, I'm upset about that, because the affirmative action in the 14th Amendment, when they put that in place, it was just for black people. It was for the African descendant of enslaved people. Our black civil rights leaders allow white women to use it. They allow the Latinos to use it. They allow the Asians to use it. Now they're taking advantage of it. So what happened is that's getting struck down. I hope it don't. That's what it like is going to happen. Now, if that happens, white women going to flood HBCUs underneath minority bill. Asians going to flood it. Caribbeans, Africans, all them going to flood it. So now there's nothing wrong with them flooding it, but where are the African descendant enslaved people going to go to school at now? And you got to let the white women in underneath the minority bill, because why? If you're a state institution, you get state funds, you can't deny them. So this is the catch-22 we're going through. You're right, we do have to do our thing, but at the same time, this is why it's important for us to build this economic infrastructure. So it won't be a moment, it will be a movement. And the infrastructure will carry the movement. But you're right, bro.
So I'm gonna just tell you like this. My guy, Dave, he's in the chat right now under the name Champ. He's a North Carolina A&T grad, and he knows everything about when it comes to North Carolina education. So he can tell me like all the stuff that's. We have our Twitter space on Wednesdays and Saturdays. He's very knowledgeable about what's going on. I wish I could bring him in, but I know it's kind of late. But this is the thing I like. But what Spence just said, he ain't left yet. So until then, we are good.
Absolutely, he ain't going nowhere.
That's the main thing.
He ain't going nowhere. He for the people, man. When you get a man for the people, it's different than a man for the bag. He can get the bag, but he's for the people. His spirit, a higher spirit brought that brother here, man. A higher spirit had that brother doing what he's doing. That's not an ordinary dude.
All right, so fellas, I think that again, well, to me, it's not even a prime thing, right? Because we as a collective, we have what it takes. Unfortunately, our what do you call it? Our buying power, right, is what we measure, like 1.6 trillion, whatever it is.
1.3 trillion.
Right. Yeah. So I try not to look at it from how much we spend, but how can we use the term ethno aggregation, right? Use our own money for ourselves.
I just told you, bro. What you saying? Don't they have a Buy Black campaign all over the country?
Of course. So, but my point is right now, when we look at it right from a prime perspective, we're looking at just for Jackson State. And what I'm saying is that as a collective, we have whatever the amount of HBCUs across this country, right? So they all won't be able to have a Coach Prime because Coach Prime is a one individual, right? So what can we do as a collective, right, to take the prime effect, right, to FAMU, to Bethune-Cookman, to Mississippi Valley, to all the other schools in all the conferences, right? Because this is, a way or a mode of transportation, if you will, the HBCUs, because we take kids and make them adults, right? So we have the ability to do that there. So all I'm saying is that yes, prime is important, and Jackson State is hot right now, but how can we take this moment and make it a movement as a collective by putting a strategy together for all of our schools and not just looking at the one?
I wrote a plan on that, and that's why when I got on earlier, I said my organization, we organizing an economic summit to discuss with HBCUs. You have to look at all HBCUs. This is not about prime. When prime came, the HBCU attendance at the games went up, right? These schools, that's why prime asked Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman, one of them, why are you playing in the Miami Dolphins Stadium if you're only averaging 5,000 fans?
No, so okay, so you're talking about my school now, right? So
right.
It was Bethune-Cookman, right? And the reason why the game was in Jacksonville, right, at the Jaguar Stadium, instead of at the municipal stadium that we use, similar to what Jackson uses, right, is because number one, there was Biketoberfest, and it was mega motorcycles, and the overall hotel room count was going to be very low, right? So it was strategically moved to where we can only fit, let's say, 10,000 in our stadium. We moved it to Jacksonville, which is only an hour and a half away, and we were actually to more than double that number.
So, okay, you got 20,000 inside a 70-seat stadium, right?
It was about 28,000, I think it was, but it didn't matter about how much the stadium holds, because the amount of people, the lower bowl, which is what we had, was actually pretty much full. But they had to open up the upper bowl in order to fit the folks in.
I understand what you're saying. My point is this: when you have a stadium, take the NFL stadium, right? An NFL stadium, before it opened, it had to sell 65,000 season tickets. The city won't even give it money to sell that many towards building a stadium. So what Dion is saying, why have a stadium? Why have it in a stadium? You don't control the revenue.
Because we
You
did
don't
control
control.
revenue,
You
right?
don't control the
So
concession stand.
hold on, brother. So a lot of people were talking about that situation and didn't really know what they were talking about, right? So we actually have to pay for the stadium in Daytona, right? So
But
the stadium in Jacksonville was actually free. We made more money by playing at an NFL stadium on that day, right? So a lot of times people looking at headlines and just listening to somebody who don't have all the information and using that, for their
no, what I'm asking, could I ask you this then? You use an NFL stadium, right?
we made more money at that.
Answer my question, bro.
Yes,
you use an NFL stadium, right?
correct. We made more money.
To use the NFL stadium, you have to use NFL personnel, security, concessions. That have to be NFL stuff.
Listen, sir, the NFL don't run the stadium. Okay, all right. So we actually made more money by changing that video.
Yeah, the city runs the stadium.
Correct.
Okay, so the city runs the stadium. Who's the personnel that runs? The city owns the stadium, right? So who's the manager of the stadium?
All right, brother. So right now, and not discounting your question, but that really doesn't matter. What matters is, at the end of the day, we made more money by making that move, right? Than keeping that game in Daytona, right? So Prime,
Because
had
y'all got
go ahead.
no, but y'all kept that money though. When the money that y'all made from that game, y'all kept that money. As far as the when we played, y'all, yeah,
exactly.
Then
So
we
that
already
was
agreed that the SWAC get 40%, right?
I don't know about that, but that's whoever. I don't know about that.
What's going on, Dave? Man, what's up, man? It's been a minute since
What's
you've been
going
on the
on,
show.
guys? It has, man. It's been a crazy day. I've been crazy week to say the least at work. So it's been kind of wild, slow week from an NFL standpoint since my team's on a bye. So can't complain.
So yeah, about the North Carolina situation. Explain that to us about the the HBCUs for North Carolina.
So what it boils down to, guys, is that so the University of North Carolina has 16 schools. There's 16 universities as part of the University of North Carolina system. Okay? So the thing about the University of North Carolina is that they have a decent chunk of HBCUs within that system. And the out-of-state caps are different. And there's a few HBCUs that have higher out-of-state caps, like North Carolina Central University, North Carolina A&T. They have a cap of 35%. Elizabeth City State University has a cap of 50%. They had to go put the request in to get a higher cap. So A&T was on a 35% cap. They went over their cap. I think they hit around 40%, 41%, something to that effect. It was only over by 170 kids. And that's why they got fined the $2 million. North Carolina Central got a similar fine the previous year. But the difference is that A&T's enrollment's up. So I think the reason why there were some folks within the Board of Governors at the time that was against A&T getting the fine was due to the fact that A&T was getting penalized for being successful. There were only four. There were only four universities within the UNC school system that had increased enrollment, and 3 out of the 4 were HBCUs. So, I mean,
we do need it. I do need to make a. No, I just read what Sonny Boone. He said I need a show to just focus on this topic alone, as far as the monetary, the monetary side of what goes on
of
with
the alums,
HBCUs, man.
some of the Aggies had the opinion of, some of them pretty much said, "How about you just take it out the money that you owe us?" Because A&T has been underfunded by $2.7 billion.
Correct.
So that's, you can just take it out the money that you owe us.
You talking about the allocation money?
No, period. We've been underfunded. Like Forbes did a study, And based since 1987, we've been underfunded by $2.7 billion.
Okay, yeah. I got you. Yeah.
So some alums are like, just take it out of the money that you owe us. Others just did the math and was like, well, we ended out on top because the overage that we had, it was more than what the $2 million fine was. But I think what it boils down to is that A&T's been growing every single year since I was a student back in the 2000s. But they haven't had like aggressive growth like some other HBCUs have had. Like we've just been having steady growth over the last decade. So like we're on pace to break 14,000 students next semester. I mean fall 2023. So like,
and I think the Pell Grants are saying what you're saying. The Pell Grants that go to the state, it shows that they're going it shows that they're going to the Pell Grant shows that they're going to HBCU schools. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, it's funny you say that. So when the COVID money came for the state of North Carolina, guess who got the most? A&T.
Right.
Because A&T, even though like we have high academic standards, we still have a high amount of students that have to utilize Pell Grants. So we got more money than any other university on campus.
And this is how they able to detect where the traffic is moving, how the traffic is moving. How the state is able to detect how the traffic is moving. And as you were saying what's going on in North Carolina, they have a Senate committee hearings in Tennessee. Why so many black students all of a sudden want to go to HBCUs? What's wrong with going to HBCUs? Why not come home?
Well, see, the thing that makes things unique about what's going on in A&T is that there's another UNC school right down the street. We just played them in basketball last night. University of North Carolina, Greensboro. Their enrollment is falling. Ours is growing.
Right.
In 5 years, at the pace that they're going, we're going to pass them.
And that's all HBCUs around the country is growing like that. So it's been a 200% increase in HBCUs. Some HBCU students have to stay in hotels. There's no space for them.
It's happening at PWIs too, though. Let's not do that narrative. It's happening at PWIs too.
That's not a bad thing that we in hotels because it still go to enrollment increase. But we know HBCU facilities is not up to standard, and that's the infrastructure is not there, and that's what Coach Prime is talking about. We have to restructure and reinvest into the infrastructure. Because there's a movement of coming back to HBCU school.
I agree with that, but I think we have to be careful with the narrative. And for me, and this is coming from somebody who did go to A&T, and the first thing I always try to remind the current students at my university is that they've always had the hotels on standby for that type of thing. But the goal was to get them back on the yard before the semester was over. Because typically what happens is based on enrollment and overages, and eventually everybody ends up back on the yard when it's all said and done. But I think the big thing that people fail to realize is that A&T houses a higher percentage of their full-time students than UNC Chapel Hill, than ECU, than UNCG, than a lot of the schools within the state of North Carolina. But I think that the problem is there's an expectation that we have to house all the students.
Hey,
that's not a realistic expectation.
Let me say something because I know this, but we've been on the stream for 3 hours.
Oh yeah, I know.
I, the man of the hour, got to be up in the morning so I can get myself to work because
good. Could I ask you one question?
We're gonna have to come back to this next week.
All right.
On the monetary issue, and I want everybody to chime in with their opinions and voice their concerns about this because this is something like because I first started talking about award snubs and who gonna be the next coach of what schools and stuff like that. But we got into the monetary situation. I was like, oh, it's a lot to come into play. So what I'm gonna do is for next week, I'm gonna try to do this next week to where we can voice like I get people, we can voice the opinions and concerns about HBCUs, about the state of HBCUs, because not only you already know, Dave, I'm an HBCU product, I'm an HBCU alum, Jackson State alum, HBCU band talk, Bethune-Cookman, yourself is A&T. You know, we got to talk about this and within a collective and try to figure out what can we do to rectify this situation, or how, you know, just the simple, you know, trying to come up with solutions to present to our own institutions, because I feel like, in a sense, Coach Prime, since he's been at Jackson State, I feel like he's been doing all the heavy lifting, and nobody's not there to help him out.
Right.
And it shouldn't be like that. Only thing he should be worried about is coaching the football team. Only thing he needs to worry about is coaching in the SWAC championship game for right now.
Doc, this is new to everybody. This is new to everyone. That's why I want to ask Dave. Dave, one question, Dave.
We'll be quick, man, because I understand. I gotta work. I gotta get back 5 hours too.
One question. At North Carolina A&T, do the football team live on campus?
Yep.
At PWI Power 5, they don't live on campus. They live nowhere near the campus.
I believe it.
I mean, the reason why I know. I mean, I've been to a PWI. I went to Stephen F. Foster for a little spell, and most of the time, football team, they don't live on campus, or they don't live directly on campus. There are campus apartments that's across the street from the school that they live at, but majority of them, unless you're a freshman, you stay on campus. You ain't got no other choice but to do that. Everybody else, you can fall off on campus and stuff like that. And I know the reason why they do it, because they don't want their head to be distracted if they are on campus. They want them to be focused basically solely on football. But to me, it's a new day. It's a new age. We're going to start this. We're going to continue this conversation.
Good job.
We're going to do it next week. I'll probably do it next Tuesday at I'll pick out a day and a time. I mean, well, not a day and a time, but because I do it Tuesday night, probably like around 8:00, probably like an hour and a half show. We can get everybody on here that wants to come on here and voice their concern. And please make sure everybody on the stream, make sure y'all like the stream, and if we got new people, new players that's in the chat that haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to build this thing, trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers so we can get it monetized. Look, I tell people I done started this thing from the ground up, from the bottom, making videos off of my phone, and look where I'm at right now.
From the bottom, now you there.
So other than that, man, we trying to get this thing to 1,000 subscribers. If y'all know people that's looking for 1,000, I mean, not 1,000, but people that like this kind of content, the HBCU content. I ain't no rah-rah guy. I told everybody I'm laid back, I'm chill, I'm who I am. So if you know people that want to listen to this, that want to look at this, that are interested in this, that are interested about they institutions, tell them to come on, tell them to subscribe, tell them we always have fun. Now, thank y'all gentlemen for joining me on the show tonight. Hey, we gonna holler Saturday night. After
Saturday,
yeah, post game.
Saturday gonna be crazy because we might know where Dion's going on Saturday, man. But they talking about
look, post game show. You already know. I got a post game show Saturday night. We got HBCU Nightly on Twitter, so y'all come in and join us on both shows. You never know. I might simulcast both of the shows just to be on, on YouTube.
Dion going right to the Celebration Bowl. and win that and go kick his feet up.
You think so, man?
And bring some more 5 stars in. He gonna bring some more 5 stars in the
Look,
Jackson.
man, A&T didn't lose their football coach to a Power 5, but we did lose a track coach, and it wasn't because we couldn't pay him. It was because we didn't have the resources around him.
But his name wasn't Dion.
You're right. His name was Dwayne.
God,
he got some Olympians and some medals and some national championships.
I feel you,
we had a number 2 track team in the nation, man.
All right, Doc. Good night, Doc.
Y'all have a good one, guys.
Thank y'all, man.
Hell,
Y'all have a good one.
Dave, I got a tribute for you, Dave, on North Carolina A&T alumni. He was the leading rebounder one time in the 50s. I'm going to see if you know who it is.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh. Adams wasn't that old. I know that much.
Adams was good. Matter of fact, Adams played right next to him.
Oh, man. Yeah, I knew it was probably around that era, but I have no idea.
It was Vince Miller.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah. And it's funny, I should know better because it's a basketball conference. Like I always say, the MEAC is a basketball conference, guys. It's not a football conference.
Not a football conference.
It's not a football conference. It's a basketball conference.
But yeah, man, I thank y'all for coming on to the show, man.
Good night, brother.
Good night, guys.
Dave, we'll chop it up on Saturday night.
Absolutely. I'll be around.
Let everybody know about the contest for the show. For the channel. If you are a subscriber, if you are a subscriber right now and you want to be in the running to win $50 from me, all right. I'm trying to pull up the rules and regulations on this thing.
All right, Dave. All right, man. I'll catch you, Doc.
All right, now.
Peace.
So if you're a regular subscriber on the channel, y'all, you have a choice to you could choose up to 4 regular subs at random for a chance to win up to $50 if they're able to get 5 people to subscribe by December 31st, 2022. The drawing will take place live on January the 3rd of the new year 2023. All entries must be emailed to me before December 31st, 2022. All entries will be checked and verified. You can enter more than once and to increase your chances of winning the contest. Now, I'm about to see if I can put this in. Hold on, y'all, because I've been holding this thing for almost all day. See if I can put this on the slide so everybody can see what I'm talking about. This is what is when you tech savvy. You know, you kind of tech savvy and stuff that you do. So, all right. Trying to be tech savvy, bro. It's crazy. But yeah, man, I thank y'all for rocking with me tonight. It was a good, we had a good show. Good show tonight. Hey, y'all wild in the comment though, man. I'm basically I'm gonna let people know, don't get me shut down. I'm trying to make money off of this thing. All right. I think this should be good right here. Put this in the thing. But yeah, man, y'all wild in the comment, bro. Y'all are wild. You're right. Social media didn't start the last 3 or 4 years, so. Man, I like to thank all the people that came on the show tonight. I like to thank Mr. Campbell. Y'all already know who he is. He's the bishop on the other on our script. But I liked him for coming on to the show and adding some insight to the stream and about what's going on in the world of all HBCUs. So it's good that he came on to the show. So let me see if I can get this up right here. Now y'all can kind of read the rules for yourself. All right. I ain't did a 3-hour show since the Tennessee State game, y'all. So, if I can find it on here. I don't think I. Yeah, man. Look, Mr. Campbell been on my side for a long time. So it was good that he did show up on the show. So, but I ain't worried about that. But like I said, the contest ends on December the 31st, and then I'll do the drawing on the 3rd, the new January 3rd of the new year. So if you want to win that $50, man, all you gotta do is just get 5 people to get on there and subscribe, and then you have to email me the 5 people you put on there, and I'll just do the verification from there. But if you want to go ahead and jump that to do that, by all means, the contest starts today. And just tell people about the show, tell them to like the stream and subscribe and hit the notification bell to get everything HBCU OverDrive. I appreciated everybody that rocked with me tonight for the 3 hours. So don't know if I'll do a show tomorrow. I probably will do a show tomorrow because it's Friday. DLL Friday, so we're gonna get that smack talk going between us, Jackson State Tigers and them Southern Jaguars, and then Saturday is the post-game show, so y'all be ready for the post-game show Saturday evening, and then we're going to the next week. I'm gonna be a little bit busy next week because of, like I said, it's Christmas time as far as the retail world. Also gonna be doing a little bit of Christmas shopping, so we'll be back on Tuesday after this week for HBCU tonight. We're gonna do it with the talking about as far as the monetary issues with the HBCUs. So like I said, special shout out to my wife. She wasn't in the chat tonight, so she gonna be looking at me like, why the hell you did a 3-hour show? But that's cool. Like I said, shout out to my wife. Shout out to all the moderators for the channel. Shout out to all the people that came on the stream. Mr. Ford. I'm probably gonna do a weekly thing with Mr. Ford, and so I'll let him know what's going on. Mr. Campbell, like I said, coming on the stream. Michael Campbell coming on the stream. HBCU Band Talk. Big LT. Dave from Panther Nation Podcast. Everybody that came on the show, man, we killed the show tonight. It was a good show. We're gonna keep doing more and more. And like I said, I'm gonna be like Aubrey Miller. Excuse my language. This shit don't stop. All right. This shit don't stop right here. It's a grind. It's always gonna be a grind. But thank y'all. If you want to donate to the stream, make sure you put it in this. I have the link down below in the ticker for the Cash App to donate to the channel. But as always, this is HBCU Overdrive, where HBCUs matter. I'm your host. I'm your boy. I'm your player partner, Doc Holliday. And as always, y'all know my saying. Be blessed, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.